Forward. Forward. Forward.
Fall in.
Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good with y'all? What's going on out there in the land? It's me, your boy Trey the Commish. You got the People's Coach, Cornelius Cole. We rocking with y'all favorites bets on the next First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So, good morning. I guess you could say, what's going on, Cornelius? What's good with you, man? What's going on?
Morning. Man,
So,
I'm Dominique Wilkins today.
what's that?
I'm Dominique
You
Wilkins today. I'm giving eights. I'm giving eights to tens today.
You know what? So I've been working in a different job for the most part than I have during the course of since I've started doing this thing that we call podcasting or First Formation. So with that being said, this has been the most challenging time because I don't really get the opportunity to watch all the events in which I want to watch consistently due to the fact of my hours of work or doing these time frames. So I have to come in and catch it here and there. Sometimes I'm missing in real time because I have to come back and catch it like recordings or highlights or go back and watch the whole thing. So it can be trying and for the most part, especially when you want to make sure you got good content. So you can have some, I want to be able to spar, saying if I have to spar back and forth with you or be able to, say contribute to the conversation. So it's crazy. So I did get a chance to catch the All-Star weekend. I came in, I sat and watched, I got in about midnight. So I watched it from when it was on until the end of the slam dunk contest. I don't know. It was a lot to be. And then I watched the All-Star game on Sunday, which is a whole thing in itself. So
211.
it's crazy. Well, but first and foremost, before we really get into that, of course, I want to shout out. Well, definitely in First Formation fashion, going to try to get those coaches and maybe even a couple of players of these teams. There were two military classics that went on this past weekend. Over on the West Coast, you had the Chris Crawford Classic out in Pendleton. Excuse me, out in Pendleton, California, in which shout out to Camp Pendleton as they were victorious in winning that classic for the Marines. They faced off against Marine Corps Air Station Miramar and were able to pull out a victory in on the West Coast. And then, of course, on the East Coast, we had the Capital Classic where there was a bevy of teams from all across military basketball that pulled up there. It was still considered open, so they were able to have free agents with stipulations, of course, and which some teams did. But in state, just as they said they would, another notch in the victory. Shout out to Coach Jasmine and the JBLE Raptors, joint base Langley Eustis, as they pull out another victory for the year. As they get set and revved up, they're getting closer and closer to the Nationals, National Military Basketball Tournament going down next month, at the end of next month. Correction, at the end of next month. At the end of April. I'm sorry, at the end of April. So that's going to be a thing as they continue on. I look forward for content purposes in seeing the top 25 that's coming out as soon as Coach Richardson is able to put it out there. So there's some things to be talked about. And I'm very sure some other stuff to be talked about. I saw Coach Richardson last week in which he put my foot to the fire and said that I have been silent in terms of some things when it comes to military basketball. He's like, you allowed a conversation. He's like, but I haven't said anything. So of course that's going to come first. First, I'm going to get with one of the individuals in which was referenced in that conversation and see do they want to come on and speak about it first before I go forth and put out something. So that's coming up. But saying shout out to those teams, Joint Base Langley, Eustis, winning the Capital Classic as they faced off against I believe it was Camp Liberty in the championship game, as well as the Marines, Camp Pendleton, winning the Chris Crawford Classic in on the West Coast this morning. So of course, games will continue to be played as they look to continue to build on their resumes to get into nationals, and of course, when for those that participate in the Military Basketball Association, looking for their opportunity to punch their ticket to be in Philadelphia playing on the national championship game, which is going to be televised. So also shout out to the Military Basketball Association, their partnership with Parade Deck, as Parade Deck provided all of the streaming for this fast weekend. So, saying again, I love it to see where, saying how things come together to be able to push forward and move forward, especially something as small as military basketball in the community and all that type of stuff. So, shout out to Commissioner Myers and his crew for being able to put that together. I'm very sure there's other innovative things are going to be out there soon across the military association, military community. So, of course, we'll be looking out for that. Now, getting back into the round ball that we was just talking about, I asked you first, what was your perception of how did you see this past weekend in basketball? If you was a great.
It's normally the same thing, like right. The Saturday night is always better than the Sunday evening. Like, I'm not gonna even say they didn't play no defense, but 200 and something points in the All Star game, man, it's like wow. Um, maybe that's what they going for, set records offensively in those respects. I don't know. A lot of 3-point shots. Like Dame took 23 3-point shots. The 3-point shoot, the shot winner. I mean, he made 11 of them though, so you can't really knock him for making. At least he made 11 of them. But he took 23 shots. Halliburton hit like 10 threes in that game.
The first five.
You know, it went different than what I expected. I expected the West to win, but then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, the West got a lot of older players, in their starting lineup. The young players seemed like they wanted it a little bit more or whatever. But highlight to me was the Steph on SQ thing. That was sharp. Um, she came up three short. Like I think advantage went to Steph because he went last. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he went second. He knew what he had to beat or whatever. But that was impressive, and the 3-point shootout was impressive.
So, of course, as you was just talking about, when you take a look at how everything is going within that, like you said, 3-point shootout in which that Dame wins again, of course, in anything. But what do you think about the field from the competition part? If we go back, well, no, let me go back. Let me be right. The skills challenge should the skills challenge continue to be a staple of the All-Star weekend, or do you think they need to change it? Do they need to do something different with it? What is your take on it?
I don't know. It was exciting. For me, it was exciting because it was the strategy at the end by the Pacers. Like they just said, forget that first target. Like and they went for the last two, and they was able to pull it out like that. Like who would have thought to skip the first one like they did? That's the first time I ever saw that, where they
Mm-hmm.
just totally skipped the first one and they just pretty much worked with the next two because they understood what they needed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Good strategy. I like some of the earlier on strategy. The one group that wasn't switching probably where they got the idea from. You know what I mean? But they had one guy just bounce passing it in every time. I think it was the All Stars or
Yeah.
whatever. They kept one person on. So it was like that stuff is entertaining, more entertaining than the dunk contest, in my opinion. Um, yeah, dunk contest needs some work. Um, not highly critical like the judges were. I mean, I just want to say that right there.
Okay.
That if you want to make the All Star game, I mean All Star weekend more entertaining, um, might be time to look away from some of these old heads to judge the competitions and stuff. I feel like the judges sometimes keep the crowd out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
when the crowd is booing, that should tell you something. You better have fun. You know, so lighten up a little bit. You know, the crowd was ready to roar about certain things, but how could you when the judging is off? I mean, you know what I mean? Like the judging was kind of awful, but the 3 point contest was the highlight, no doubt. It was the best part of it.
Mhm.
Um, 8 shooters, 20 plus points the first round out the gate. I mean, that was impressive. That was really impressive. Four with 26 points in the first round. That was pretty. Like to me, that was the best part. All the shooters have changed, and it proves our point, right? What we've been talking about lately, as far as the talent is way better in the NBA right now than it's ever been.
What's going on there, Bishop? How you doing there, brother?
WGO, what's going on, fellas? What up? What up? What up? CC, Trey, what's good with y'all, man? I know y'all jumped on here today to talk about that trash NBA All Star Weekend. I know that's
So
what y'all in here
was
for.
it? Was
That's
did you
why I
see
had
it?
in my input.
Did you see it as trash the whole weekend, or did we just say what's your thoughts?
So I heard what I was just listening to what CC was talking about in regards to the game, right? And the reason why I call the whole thing, I won't let me recant that. First of
Okay.
all, good morning to everybody that's out there. Good morning, good morning. But let me first say this, right? I won't say the whole thing was trash. The most trash part, and I think everybody will agree, get rid of the dunk contest. Get,
No, what
get
y'all? Why?
listen,
I just said
get
the dunk
rid
contest.
of the dunk, bro.
I'd rather get rid of the game.
No, definitely don't get rid of the game. Absolutely not. Now I will say I'm gonna talk about the game, but let me talk about the
Okay.
dunk contest first. Now the skills challenge, it was all right. Yeah, kind of. It's hit or miss with the skill challenge thing for me. 3 point contest, I'm freaking standing. You never get rid of the 3 point contest. That junker is that's what makes the weekend now is the 3 point contest. To be honest with you, the dunk contest, I'm gonna tell you why it's trash. CC, because I know you be with me here. Trey be on some other stuff. You be with me. How many people? And don't worry, I'll wait. Out of what it was, 5 dunkers, 6 dunkers. How many was it?
4 dunkers.
It was only 4. No, it was
Yeah,
more than that, wasn't it?
No, it's 4. Jaime Jaquez
yeah, it was
Jr.,
cool.
Okay.
Mac McClung, Jalen Brown, and Toppin.
Toppin's little brother. I was gonna say, yeah,
Toppins.
Toppin little
Okay.
brother.
Okay. Out of all 4 of those dunkers, which one of them didn't jump over somebody?
It's a skill. It's a
That is
skill.
not a skill.
Can
That
you
is
jump over somebody and get a dunk in the 10th court?
listen. First of all, this is why I don't consider it a skill. Unless the only person who skillfully did it is what's his name? Golly, the one that went up against Zach LaVine,
Oh, you talking about Aaron Gordon?
Aaron Gordon. The only one that actually done something like that was Aaron Gordon. If you spread, okay, technically, let me throw these air quotes up. Technically, yes, you jumped over someone. However, if you spread your legs to get over them, are you really kind of sort of like jumping over them? Yes, you are physically going over them. However,
Leapfrog.
thank you. Leapfrog. Hurdle. Thank you. Yes, you by the definition of jumping, yes, you have officially jumped over someone. However, who was it? Toppin, I think it was. He put what 2 to 3 dunkers, 2 to 4 dunkers jumped over Shaq. You got Brown who put somebody in the seat and jumped over him. The dude who sat in the seat was 5'3", wasn't he? Wasn't he half a midget?
So
Wasn't
they
he like come
do
on,
that.
man.
So
Come on, man. Like really?
I
And
see.
then you put 2 people, you put one person on top of another person, which equals the size of Shaq. So, like, come on, bro. Like,
So all my life, I got to fight, and so I have to fight here against my my counterparts in defense of the dunk contest. So yes, true enough, and they someone
Trash.
put out there a meme that Shaquille O'Neal was the dunk contest. So okay, I get it, I understand that. Shaquille O'Neal is how tall is Shaquille O'Neal? What, 7'2"? 7'1", 7'1", right? 7'1".
Okay.
One person put their hand to
Toppin.
Yeah, Toppin put his hand down to ensure that he cleared Shaquille O'Neal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, get it. McClung put two people on top of each other to sit up and be able to and jumped over those two individuals, right? He also used a situation where he caught the ball, pulled it up, put his hands out, grabbed the ball again, and then dunked it, right? So true and clear and concise. I'm very sure y'all agree with me. 2016 is the most entertaining, was the best the dunk contest of all time.
That was Levine and whatchamacallit, right?
Levine and Gordon. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They pulled the tops out, they did, you know what I'm saying, all that type
Absolutely.
of stuff. Like, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen something where the competition,
creativity.
Yeah, the creativity, the competition went down to the wire. Now we've seen creative dunks and stuff like that from individuals, but it hasn't always just been that. But what you have to do, like you said, going, in my opinion, when you're using Shaq or stuff like that, like I think it progressed, right? Because like we said, we've seen Toppin put his hand down and use it. But I know Kai Cenat was used. It was more so, in my opinion, as the fact, because he's one of the biggest influencers that's out there, and so Jaylen Brown used him to sit up and put his camera on there. So it was more to a scheme as opposed to a competition, because what he tried to do was enact D Brown's slam dunk being the
And
Boston
screwed
Celtics.
it all up.
Yeah, because one, he didn't have on pump, he didn't have on Reebok the shoes, but he simulated that, and then he jumped over him and didn't even sit up and cover his face until he came down. Like, completely gimmicky.
Dumb. Hello, dumb.
But when you see, of course, like I said, as I figured, McClung was my pick. What you see McClung did is, when he jumped over Shaq and dunked, he did not he literally jumped over a 7 foot. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You think Matt,
but let me ask you this, Trey.
6'1", 6'2".
Trey. CC. Shaq 7'1", right?
Yes.
That young man that's out here in San Antonio, how tall is he?
Victor Wembanyama is 7'3".
4. 7'4". 7'4", 7'5". Why they didn't pick him?
It's coming. I believe it's coming.
He was there.
No, it's coming.
Listen, but this is my thing, right? Why didn't they pick him? So many people have already dunked over Shaq before. This is the thing about it. No one's using creativity. If you want to show your leap of ability, now the only person I will agree with you, Trey, I will give McClung credit, because for one, this man, they say he's not even listed at being 6 feet. For one,
he just got jumped.
He's not even 6. He just got crazy hops. So he's not even 6 feet. So if anybody gets credit for doing that feat, would be McClung, without question. However, if you are trying to jump over someone and you want to impress the crowd, jump over the tallest person in the NBA, which is Victor. He's in attendance. Attendance. And ain't why is we waiting?
You got
because everybody's seen us do. How many people CC has jumped over Shaq?
Well, throughout the years, been quite a few though, right?
It's
just like the NBA prop, right?
So the only other person that probably would have been around, which someone would think if he was there, but he's probably not there, is Bol, right? But you can say, because he was Victor Wembanyama before Victor got into the league. Right. So when you look at it, like, I think it's coming. I look at it as, why I'm not pulling out anything if I ain't got to, right? I'm not the person that
Everybody pulled out Shaq though, Trey.
No, I'm saying yeah, but I say if I ain't got to pull out Victor Wembanyama, I'm not finna pull out Victor Wembanyama.
But why would you though? But why wouldn't you if everybody's seen everyone jump over Shaq?
Because
Everybody's seen that.
Because to this date, so let's keep it 100. We talk about Zach LaVine. We talk about Aaron Gordon.
Stuff that people ain't never seen. And neither one of them, listen, and this is the kicker. Like you said, 2016 was the best dunk contest we've had in years prior to, Jordan and all of them. Neither one of them jumped over Shaq. Or over some, you know what I'm saying?
Outside of over stuff, yeah.
Well, Gordon did the thing with the mascot. But I'm saying in regards to like no one jumped over, neither one of them jumped over Shaq, and it was one of the most entertaining dunk contests in years.
Got it. So what I think they're doing is showing their ability. Like we said, it's like showing the ability to leap over who, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's all about fanfare and all that type of stuff. Like Victor Wembanyama, I should have thought about it myself. Like Victor Wembanyama would have been someone to jump over, but I'm very sure it's coming. If I ain't got to use that, if I ain't got to use that round, I'm not finna use that round. I'm gonna chamber it for later because you still have an opportunity. McClung said he doesn't know if he's gonna come back to defend for a third time. He may not, but if he does, I'm very sure someone's gonna try to bring Victor Wembanyama into the fray because
but this is my thing, Trey. CC has since before 2016 and now after 2016 has the dunk contest not been on the decline? Drastic.
It's really on the decline. Like I said that last year though, right when the G League guy won it anyway. Like why is the G League guy?
He was in the league then.
Like you have to ask yourself, but he was on a 10-day contract. Come on, man, he was still considered a G League player. He wasn't really in the NBA.
Right. That part.
NBA. I mean, come on. And the second year in a row, he's still in the G League.
Right.
I think it's more of an embarrassment for him at this point, right? I mean, if he comes back a third time and he's still in the G League, it's like, man, your career ain't progressed yet. Like you ain't gonna make. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so think about it like this.
It's sort of like, where's McClung going? Like.
He was on a 2-year contract last year because at one point he was a Laker, and then the Lakers released him and put him back in the G League because they had to choose between some people. But McClung was on a 2-year contract. Last year, McClung was the G League's MVP. So he got skills, and which they even said Kenny Smith was also on there talking about someone needs to go ahead and put him back on a roster. Like when he had got signed, true enough, he had got signed up, but the Lakers had released him. He was playing in the G League. I mean, the Lakers took him off there. He was in their two-way player. He was just there on the team. The two-way contract belonged to I can't think of who it was. I'm about to say Reeves might have been one of them, honestly, before he signed his contract and become a part of the team. But he was there, and they say, I mean, he was last year's G League MVP. Year before that, we know it was Lofton. So, I mean, and neither one of them is currently on contracts for the most part. So it goes to show, like, saying certain things. But I think what this does is this keeps him in conversation to be able to be picked up. Yeah, McClung, yes.
Is McClung, like, I've seen nothing but videos of McClung dunking. Does he truly have a game outside of being able to leap out the gym?
Yeah.
Does he Does he? Because I haven't seen any. I haven't seen nobody.
He was a G League MVP last year.
That doesn't mean he has game, bro.
That means clearly he had game. I'm very sure they ain't giving him the award because he's dunking. He has to be.
Well, if he got skills, why he not on the NBA roster?
He's like I just said.
I'm just saying.
Like I just said, he's a small guy. That's just like Kenny Lofton Jr. has skills. He's not on anyone's roster either.
Because you know why? Because of the simple fact that, listen, I'm not taking anything from McClung or Lofton. I'm not saying they can't play ball. They're just not
what the NBA need right now.
No, they're just not at the caliber of being able to be put on an NBA roster.
Right. On an NBA roster.
Y'all gotta be y'all are wild this morning. So what y'all telling me is what y'all telling me is they're not caliber players to be on a roster. Y'all saying that you're not caliber players to be on a roster. However,
listen, this is my thing, Terry. Listen to what you're saying. Think about it. McClung is taller than Spud Webb. Yet Spud Webb was on an NBA team.
On an NBA roster.
So was Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues is shorter than McClung, was on an NBA roster. you cannot get me to understand how McClung is in the G League and can't make an NBA roster.
Okay, so think about this, right? There are some. It sounds funny because we're sitting here and you'll say neither one of us is for 1 to 450 in the NBA, but there are some trash dudes from the eye test that are on NBA rosters right now, right?
McClung ain't 450 neither, so that's what we're talking about. He's one of them.
But okay, touche.
Facts.
So,
Facts.
so true that. So, but what I'm saying is, McClung and Lofton are better than for a good amount of them 450. But those people are on rosters; they're there for a certain reason. So those people they just don't fit the bill, right? Like what Spencer Dinwiddie was close to being one of those not being 400. He was a 450. He almost became a 9-450.
450.
But
you talking about a league where Master P got to try out. You talking about a league? I mean, come on, man. You talking about a league where Rayford Austin came straight off the playground to the pro.
I wasn't gonna bring him up.
You got it. If you got it, you on a roster. So something.
CC.
We not saying McClung can't play. We saying he can't play NBA, right? In a consensus because he's not on a roster. Like it's 30 teams. It's 30 teams. He ain't even on the Hornets.
And you can't make one team.
He ain't even on the Hornets.
I know.
I mean, I'm just
in the league.
He ain't on the Wizards.
Like that's my point. Because I was gonna bring up Rayford Austin too. I was gonna bring up the same thing. Skip to my Lou. All them cats who played N1 basketball could ball. Could they not? Let's even talk about Professor, one of the best dribblers who can dribble the ball. Professor, he's not in the league or the G League, but this man can dribble the ball out this world. Some of the best dribblers. Is just the fact of the matter is I get it. McClung, like I said, I'm not taking nothing from Lofton, not taking nothing from McClung. They can ball. I'm sure they can ball without question. But his main talent is the fact that he can jump out the gym at a short stature. That's what it is. That's what's made him famous. He's able to jump out the gym at a short stature. That's it. That's his whole thing. That's it. That's his whole thing.
Like, what are other intangibles?
Anyone that knows Mac McClung, hey, feel free, put him in contact. We can get him on the show and let him come and explain what is going on.
I'm not saying Mac McClung can't ball though. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's just like he's not in the 450.
Gate
City. A lot of ballers.
Gate City stand up.
He's not in the 450. Is a lot.
Often, yeah, and you out there too. I wish LA would have picked you up. Matter of fact, I want Jaime Jaquez too because I wish he was on the LA roster as well. What's going on, Commissioner Meyer? Shout out, you know what I'm saying?
What up, Mike? What up,
stuff going on this weekend? The classic Crawford Classic in Pendleton. I see you out there on the California beaches and everything as well. So, but okay, so I'll give you that. The 3-point, the slam dunk contest. Needs to be
the judges, in my opinion, the judges, like I was telling you earlier,
the judges go ahead. Let's say that.
The judges made it worse.
Okay.
First of all, Gary Payton ain't even a dunker. Like he ain't even a dunker.
How do you have Gary
why would he even judge it?
How do you have Gary Payton
anti-advocate to play anti-advocate?
You always play advocate. Stop being an advocate. Stop being
Do you have to be a dunker to judge?
I'm just saying.
That's like having Shaq
judge. Parker got more dunks than Gary Payton. I'm just saying.
That's like asking Shaq to be over the skills challenge. Why would Shaq be over the skills challenge? Shaq, you can barely shoot a free throw. How you watch the skill challenges? That's not you. Gary Payton you should either have been won a dunk contest. It should be the Vince Carters, the Michael Jordans, even though Michael Jordan has never been a judge, but it should be the Vince Carters, it should be the Michael Jordans, the Tracy McGrady's, the Spud Webb, which he's done it before. Dominic numerous times has done it before. So has Dr. J. Dr. J. These are the people that should be judges. Gary Payton, you're known as the glove. What the hell do you got to do with dunking? I don't even think I've ever seen you dunk in a game. That don't mean you can't dunk. I'm not saying you can't dunk. We've seen Kyrie dunk before. We know he can dunk, but he shouldn't be judge of the dunk contest. He should be judge of the skills contest, not the dunk contest. Why, you got people on here who don't dunk. Like he said, sure, let Lisa Leslie come in here and do the dunk. I think she done it before too. Actually, I think she has been a judge, but let a female do it. But what these Gary Payton? As soon as they showed him, I was like, "What in the devil?"
Yeah.
I know it's going to be trash. And then they give it. And what's up with all these great grades? Did anybody get below a 45 in that whole dunk contest? Anybody? It's like they're giving 40. Everybody getting 48, 47
So did you think
regular dunk.
Do you think there was a dunk that was a 40 that should have been less than the 40? It should have been
Yes,
45?
Jaylen Brown's dunks was trash. Jaylen Brown didn't do no spectacular dunk.
I thought the judges was on Jaylen Brown's side. like they definitely wanted Jaylen Brown to win that event.
So definitely, I would say definitely what ended up happening in the slam dunk contest is there was a rhetoric in which if you didn't knock it down the first time, you wasn't going to. Yeah, they was taking points away because that first McClung dunk probably should have got a little more than what it did.
Yeah, they dipped him out of that first dunk. Yes, I agree.
So
that was all straight hops. That was all straight hops. Yeah.
Of course, Mr. Meyer says non-NBA players should not be in the dunk contest.
That's what we were just saying. But you got to go to the G League because you ain't got no dunkers that want to get in the contest.
But that's the problem because we should, when it comes to the dunk contest, and I want to say Reggie Miller said it during the
it's an ego issue.
But guess who started that ego issue? Guess who? Thank you. The so-called the GOAT. The so-called.
Remember, Kobe Bryant has a slam dunk contest.
He sure does. He sure does. That's why LeBron James could never be the GOAT because he do stuff like that. Why is you listen? You're the face of the NBA. Hold on, Trey, because I know you don't like this. I know you don't like this, but you were the face of the NBA, and you're trying to fulfill shoes in being what is considered labeled the GOAT. Yet you choose to not participate in the dunk contest, and you were one of the most high-flying NBA players in the NBA, and you declined to do it. Really? That makes no sense. That's why we need Zion, but Zion can't stay healthy enough to be in it. We definitely need Ja in it. We should have had what's his name from what's the one? The real high fly. And this is another thing. CC, help me out because I know Trey ain't gonna believe in this. And I know I'm gonna get some flack of this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you 16 and above, you shouldn't be in the dunk contest.
Why not?
For what? You 6'10". For one, your dunks is not going to look as good as a dunker who's shorter than you. They're not.
Well, true that. That's true.
They're not. Two, you're 6'10". With your wingspan, you already touching the rim. What skill are you really showing?
So you saying that Dwight Howard shouldn't have been able to win his slam dunks was impressive?
Was his dunks really that impressive? Be honest.
One of them he dunked. Did he not dunk on 11 or 13 foot goal? He had them raise it up.
I give you that and only because he raised it up because of the fact he's so tall. If you're gonna be in a dunk contest and you 6'10" and above, you don't dunk on a 10-foot rim then. That's my whole point. You don't dunk on a 10-foot rim because no one you're 6'10" and above. That's like Victor dunking in the dunk contest, and he's 7'2", 7'4". I mean, what?
So I definitely agree with Commissioner Myers and Tommy, in which I've thought about that too. Why not bring in some of the YouTubers or the other dunkers and stuff that's out there that are skywalkers and high flyers, and let them, you know, what I'm saying, let them be competition because those are the ones that where you tend to see the creativity and stuff like that. In my opinion,
you would have to pay them. 211 and 186 is not cute. So this is my thing about that, Commission. The NBA has evolved. It's no longer an NBA of defensive games, especially when it comes to the All-Star game. Back in the day, All-Star games was barely making it over 100, I think. When Mike and them was all doing it, a little over 100, maybe 120, 130 at the most. We knew it was a matter of time before it was going to get, like, what was it, last year? Or the highest game was, 196? Outside of what happened this past weekend? Yeah. We knew it was going to happen. It was coming. We knew it was coming because, for one, Commish, and y'all help me, CC Trey, is it safe to say this era of NBA players are the best all-around shooters we've seen in the history of the NBA?
That's how I started the show off saying, man, it's better shooters than even I thought in particular too. Like, it's better scorers, better shooters.
That part. We got 7-footers we got 6 guys over 6'10" in the 3-point contest and almost winning this thing. Almost Big Cat almost won that thing. Yeah, Big Cat was in that.
Cat has been displaying his shooting ability. Cat has been displaying his shooting ability in the All-Star games for at least the last 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely. So, but before him, how many big over 6'10" 3-point shooters could we really name? Big men. Dirk. Everybody go say Dirk. After Dirk, who? Don't worry, we'll wait. But now we got Big Cat, we got Joker, we got what's his name? Now we got more big guys shooting threes than we probably ever seen back in the day, period. So it was a matter of time before where they were going to surpass 200 points. It was a matter of time. We have in this era, and I know a lot of people might, Commissioner Mines, you might not believe me, but or agree with me, but right now, this era of basketball players has the best shooters to ever be in the league. Ever. When you got a dude who takes 1 foot, or not even 1 foot, both feet, at least both heels are on the half court mark, and knocking down nothing but net in Dame.
Dame got
bro, that's ridiculous. When we used to see that back in the day, that was the last second shot of a game. This dude doing that on a regular just because I can. Ain't nobody guarding me.
So the skill is definitely there, definitely without a doubt, in which we see it. But still, I think we're giving them a pass. We're making an excuse for them not being played defensively, and which y'all just pointed out, right? What y'all just pointed out is, and I was sitting up before I got on here, I was like, man, well, of course, one of the questions was, how is it that it can be better? But it was at one point, it was exactly what we were looking for, the All-Star game, the actual game. But at one point, it was exactly what we was looking for. Hence the reason why we could be like, yo, what's going on? Why is it? And a lot of the players talk about how they don't want to get hurt. Again, another excuse.
But that's why the NFL went to flag football for the Pro Bowl.
But different. But the game is more physical in the NFL than in the
NBA. I was about to say, thank you. Say that. Say that.
Yeah, you look at it from the eye test, the game is more physical for the NFL as opposed to the NBA. But when you look at it and take a look at it, it's like it was at one point what it is. Like when Kobe was and all that type of stuff around. In like the last 10 years, it was a physical. I mean, it was a competitive game, and then it went from being competitive to now the players are saying we just out there to have fun, or this is what saying. This is what it is.
What would you prefer to CC and Trey? What would you prefer?
Competitive game.
Was it not competitive?
Was it
not competitive at all?
I'm not gonna say it wasn't competitive, but let's just say that once the East started bombing, the West, they didn't really care to get back in the game. They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't really.
It was nonchalant.
Nonchalant.
I agree.
They just let it be a landslide. I mean, a landslide.
You know how you can tell it was non-competitive, in my opinion? Cat dropped 50 points.
How many?
Cat dropped 50 points while Dame and Halliburton had 30 points apiece on what was the winning team, but Cat dropped 50 points where he went 15. Like, so there at some point they just open the floodgates, and that's what saying that what starts to be the problem. That's not a competitive game, like you said. Next year, you're probably going to see both teams score 200 points if they don't figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought it was going to get to that point, but it got to a point to where the teams were missing here and there. So it's really a situation. It's really unfortunate when you take a look at it, and saying like Tommy said, they played more defense than summer run games. And when you think about when you see those, that's exactly what it is. It's competitive. So why are you saying that in mid-season that you don't want to get injured, but when you're off season, you play, saying when y'all playing these, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Duran or someone or Williams from OKC that sit up and talked about how their one-on-ones be epic as well. So all this stuff is like, so why not again? Is it because the players in the league is asking for this and going against what y'all doing, and it's put into this to the point to where it's like, what is going on? Why is this game so hard? Or any games? Let's talk about any of the exposition games mid-season. Only the the NFL has it after the fact, but as we talked about before, all the major divisions or major sports leagues have all-star games that are usually played at the midpoint, and all of them have had the same gripes of where they have to change the system to fit something. But in your opinion, how do we make it? How does it get better in state?
Well, the players have to make it better. The players have to want to compete. Like, you're not going to get better if the players don't want to compete. So maybe you start, like, I don't know. Maybe you start
incentive
to try to make it competitive. Maybe you start mix it up or something. Like, have the players playing with the celebrities or something. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to try to do something to make it more. If you want to make it that way, or if you just want to see your favorite players dunk on each other all night or shoot wide open threes, uncontested threes all night. I mean, then that's cool too, but let's not call it a game. Let's just, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to call it a game for that. You could add more uh, a contest or more, you know what I'm saying? Rather see a game of hearts or something, or maybe you should add one-on-one to the. I mean, I don't know. You got to do something. Add one-on-one to the weekend or something.
That's why I was like, why not just remove the game in itself? Because it's now it's like, why play the game at this point? Why not just make it like a bunch of different mini games that come up and that you get that's score for over the course of the weekend? Kind of like taken from the NBA's blueprint of what they do now, although they do have a game, but it's like, but they all have other stuff going on as well. Because at this point, it's starting to become and let like those big events, i.e., the 3-point contest, the slam dunk contest, let those be the big culminating factors, and then we go and everything else be played. Because at this point, the competition is dwindling, and people are starting to feel like they pay all this money to come here to see you put up 211, almost 400 points in a game to 397 points in a game. I mean. And which is funny is if we seen that in a regular season game, then we'll be like, oh, snap, it hits different. But in this game, it's like, why not? Especially when you have some of the biggest and best talent that's out there, and they're not competing. Like, that's what which everyone keeps on talking about, like I was just saying. Obviously, and I thought the same thing as I watched the game, like, these are shooters. Like, these people are shooters. Like, some of this is easy. Dane, easy. Steph, easy. Halliburton, easy. Like, and I was like, people are spotting up. Jaylen Brown knocking down, like, no matter everyone. Let me see. Actually, who had the worst percentage? Kevin Durant, 4 for 8. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 7 for 10. Karl Anthony Towns, 4 for 13. Steph Curry, 4 for 13. Dame Lillard, 11 for 23. Halliburton, 10 for 14. Jaylen Brown, 6 for 12. Like, everyone was shooting, not everyone hit. LeBron James was 0 for 3. Jokic was 1 for 1. Giannis was 0 for 3. Banchero was 0 for 4. 1 for 4 was Trae Young. So some of this people in which we know are shooters tend to was shooting and wasn't hitting anything but for the most part, everyone was a plus. Well, everyone in the East was a plus. Everyone in the West was a minus. So I mean, it's got to be something that's got to give in state. The Elam rules of the All-Star game. What do you think about that? Taking back the Elam and the endings and stuff like that.
I think you got to do, like I said, some way you got to, if you want to make it a competitive game. I mean, they say the NBA strove to make it a competitive game. That was a angle this year, but hadn't that been a angle last year too? And it's only, you know,
Like you said,
like
it's
some
only
people like offense. People like offense, so it's still a show no matter how you look at it. But
Mhm.
yeah, just not my flavor. Like I don't think I'd be interested in it because you're not gonna bring back competition. Like if the players don't want to play in it, they're not gonna go all out in that game.
It
So
seems like it's starting to take on the Team USA moniker potentially, where it's like, okay, we don't want to play until they want to play again. Just like a lot of players didn't want to play for Team USA, and then now all of a sudden, when Team USA got smacked up in the Worlds this year, then it's like, oh well, we're coming back. Like, why does that have to be what galvanizes the troops to come and play? Like it's saying in state, we should be playing regardless.
well, it's like sometimes you want to feel needed, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just want to feel needed. That's all it is. Is like, hey, they need me now. You know. So now I go play. It's like, you know, like if we would have won with those, if we would have won. I'm not gonna call them scrubs, but we would have won with that subpar team. Then it would be no need for the bigger name stars to be like, hey, I want to go play for Team USA. Oh, they got you know what I mean. But now it's a wake up call that hey, we supposed to be the best in the world, so let's send our best to represent. Which you feel like we should do that off the rip, but as we just got through saying, like, you know, everybody got their own agendas now. Like, it's not about proving who the best no more. That's just my opinion. It's more about let me collect this check right quick. You know, you seeing more players saying that it's a job to them and not, you know what I'm saying, and not for the love of the game nowadays.
Hmm. So speaking of love
You
for
don't want
game,
to show. Here's the thing: you don't want to show up at your job on your off day. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll show up on payday, but you don't want to show up on your off day, right?
so of course
So,
going back into the looks and stuff like that of what the league is going to, of course we know they go back to business on Thursday, in which for one particular team it looks a little different as Jacques Vaughn has been fired by the Brooklyn Nets, and which Kevin Ollie has been instituted as the interim coach. What is going on in Brooklyn? As you're saying, Bishop, that's his team. If he was on, I asked him that question. But what is going on in Brooklyn right now? Jacques Vaughn actually was 71 and 68, I think, in his between the 2 years in which he coached, and with of course 2 iterations. I thought Brooklyn was looking up for a second. Now we have it to where the Jacques Vaughn is out. They're going a different route. Interim coach Kevin Ollie, uh, former UConn and NCAA UConn championship winning coach. Is Kevin Ollie the answer? What or are we going to be back in the same situation at the end of the season?
it's gonna be the same situation at the end of the season. We know what happened with the Nets organization. They made dumb decisions at the top, and now they paying for them. Now you're starting to see it on the court, right? It started with the Kevin Durant and the Kyrie Irving, all that stuff is catching up with the team. All your talent gone. Like how good are you? You 21 and 33. That's a blessing with the talent that you have on that roster. Like you got up and coming players, but a lot of those players haven't came into their own yet. So what do you expect? What did you expect from a coach who came in and he had a lot of talent? You know what I mean? And now all that talent is gone. What do you? I mean, what do you expect to happen when you take all the talent away?
And so I didn't want to be the first to say that because I wanted to speak because we, of course, we would think that you're going to coach what you go. They still got talent, in my opinion. They got Mikal Bridges. They have who's that? Cam Thomas. So they have a few pieces there still. But like you said, true enough, you went from having Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, and you still got Ben Simmons to now where they are now, to where you got to think that it would give an opportunity. You would be given an opportunity to kind of like erect that and right that ship. But of course, they didn't give that to Jacques Vaughn, and now it's Kevin Ollie's opportunity to try to turn things around. With I think they have 28 games remaining, so it's unfortunate. The huge turnover yet again. Another another job that's going to be up for grabs at the end of the season. Currently, the only one that's going to be up to grabs as far as we know it.
But they haven't switched. Here's my thing. But the Hornets still sticking with their coach. The Wizards still sticking with their coach. I mean, 21-33 is a lot better than those squads. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Is that and you trying something with the talent that you got. Like I don't blame. It was all good for Vaughn when he had the talent. Now that he don't have the talent, we don't have the patience to wait for you. But it just shows what the organization is about. The Nets, they ain't looking to be competitive no time soon.
LeBron James, of course, came on to state that he hopes to end his career as a Laker. If you're Rob Pelinka or even Jenny Buss, because I'm very sure that's that's a Jenny Buss thing more than a Rob Pelinka thing. Is LeBron ending his career as a Laker?
What is he gonna retire after this season? I mean, I'm saying, like, yeah, I think he is. I think he's gonna end his career as a Laker. Um, might be unfortunate for Laker fans if he's trying to win a championship or whatever he's trying to get out of it. But yeah, he gonna end his career as a Laker because his contracts are not lengthy. He only signed like 2-year contracts or
He
something.
signed a 2-year contract, but he backs out of it. He doesn't. So of course, right now, of course, this is. Let's be honest. This is going to be his. Even though he has another year left on his contract, we all know he's going to opt out of the contract to resign a bigger contract for the following year over the course of the next 2 years. He's been doing it for years.
If he really serious about adding his son to the Lakers, then he probably won't be a Laker.
I look at it as if I'm them, LeBron is not going to be in his career as a Laker. I'm shipping him and getting whatever I can for him and going on about my business.
What are you gonna get for a nearly 40-year-old player though? What are you gonna?
You
gonna get second round picks? Second round picks at this point?
I don't know, but I mean, someone's going to be willing to give us something possibly. And of course, it's messed up because once you sit up and pull that trigger, now it's a problem because now the player knows, hey, this is what's going on. But I think at that point, I think it's got to go. Like, is it hindering us more than it's helping us? Or, or just sit up and be like, oh, we're going to send you here. I'm very sure even a 40-year-old LeBron is going to be able to give something to somebody that's looking to do something, whether it's looking to bolster their team.
I'm not understanding. What is wrong with you Laker fans? What is he hindering? Without him, take him off that roster. Take him off that roster. Y'all don't make it to the Western Conference Finals last year. Y'all don't make it nowhere. I mean, with him, y'all in playoff contention. Take him off that team. Y'all straight in the gutter.
Remember, AD.
Y'all in championship contention with this guy. Who you gonna get to replace him?
AD and LeBron both didn't play in a crucial game. And the Lakers played some of their best ball this year. So what I see it as is if I guess it was against the Clippers? Who it was
the regular season.
It was against the Boston. So yes, LeBron is key when it comes down to that. But I'm just saying, like, it's time to So from as long as I've been a Laker fan, we have always had bridging gap players, right? To where it's always been someone that has bridged the gap for what was going to be the next couple of years with the team. LeBron came in.
Who was that when y'all missed the playoffs 6 years in a row or something? Like first time ever y'all missed the playoffs. Who's bridging that gap? Nobody.
It was LeBron. He was supposed to be the bridging player, going from Kobe to going to LeBron. But then of course we had Brandon Ingram. We had a bunch of players that didn't know how to play together. So now the next person that was supposed to be in that succession, once LeBron had been there for, like you say, 6 years, 8 years, 9 years, is supposed to be AD. And then so now at this point we have to find another bridging talent. I was key to thinking that it was going to be Giannis before he signed his deal to stay in Milwaukee. But now we have to find another bridging gap talent to basically pick up the mantle from LeBron or A/AD going in, and so that's just been the Lakers' succession plan. Is they always
I don't
find
understand,
someone to
y'all. I don't understand. I know Jeannie Buss has done better with the team than her brother was doing, Jim Buss
correct.
or whatever. I know Palinka showed off
Does
his skills last year,
it-
making the moves. But my thing is, Laker fans, what do y'all want? Y'all in playoff, y'all in championship contention. Not too many teams can say that. If y'all make the playoffs, y'all in championship contention. What more do y'all want? Like you're not gonna win it every year, but you're in contention to win it. Like you was in the final four of the NBA last year. Like what more do you want out of you know what I'm saying? Like y'all want all the talent all the time. Y'all want all the people. It sounds like to me the Lakers just being too nitpicky. Y'all want all the talent all the time, all the people all the time. It's like, hey, you know, like
that's what got
slow
the
down,
17 of them. That's what's got the 17 of them.
slow down, pump your brakes a little bit. You know, I mean, take it easy a little bit. You'll be all right. Like y'all gonna be all right.
That's what got the 17. You got to think that's where it's 17. Ain't no one. Is only one other team that is even close to us, and they were on the same stuff. So I mean, that's what works. And you're saying, but right now, in my opinion, the Celtics are better geared to be at number 18 than we are. And
I
the
don't
only
know
way
about that.
you
And
don't
I
think
say
so?
that from a standpoint of y'all ain't in the playoffs. Like last year, y'all came from what was it, seventh seed or whatever. I mean, so it doesn't matter. Y'all just trying to get in right now. Like just get into the playoffs, be in the top 10 teams, get in the play-in game even, and then watch that defense. I think y'all got a better defense. I think y'all got a championship defense that's gonna only show up in the playoffs. Y'all showed it last year. Y'all had a championship defense. The length of the Lakers, the size of the Lakers, and when the game slows, we know the game gonna slow down. We know it's gonna have to be some half court execution when it comes to the playoffs.
You know what I actually felt last year? If who was out for if damn, his name slips my mind at this time. But if he had been able to play because he broke his hand earlier, just before the end of the season, if he had been there, LA would have lost first round. I had that in my mind that he was the missing piece. Had he been there, who was it? See, now I gotta go look it up.
You talk about for the Grizzlies,
Yes,
because then y'all play the Grizzlies in the first round.
we played the Grizzlies in the first round, and we played the Golden State Warriors in the second round. It was
Y'all was gonna beat the Grizzlies. Come on, it was nobody else. Talking Steven Adams. I mean, who
no, it
was
was
it there?
Adams. It
Uh,
was Adams. Or maybe I'm looking at the wrong team. Maybe it was a team that Golden State played in the first round. Didn't they play Minnesota in the first round?
no, Golden State played. I thought Golden
Sacramento.
State played Sacramento the first
Yeah,
round.
they did play Sacramento in the first round. I have to take a look at it, but I could have sworn it's someone that in which was missing off that team that had hurt themselves, in which LA would have probably had problems had he been playing
I don't
because they
think
had
so.
problems
I think no, the Grizzlies. They was gonna beat the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies
were young.
not tall enough. They didn't have the height. They didn't have they didn't have the body. They didn't have the physicality. The Grizzlies didn't have the physicality when it came to the playoffs that the Lakers had. So the Lakers was gonna win. Lakers was gonna win that. They was gonna win that, and they was gonna win it easily, like they did. I mean, you relied on Baines, and it was Dylan Brooks last year. Um, I mean, Jai is like John Morant is John Morant, but you relying on other pieces that outside of John Morant that's just not good enough. Memphis has to realize, and you can see that this season with Memphis struggles without John Morant. They don't have enough talent there. Without John Morant, look at the Memphis Grizzlies record. Like, look at where they are without John Morant. Period. I mean, I'm just saying that team totally falls off. They don't have anything to fight with outside of John Morant. So um, y'all were gonna win that series. That's just my opinion. Everything happened the way it happened. Y'all, you got to think. Y'all got swept by the team that won the NBA Finals. It's not like Boston on the other side who lost to the Heat. An 8 seed. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. um, a team that wasn't even sure. Neither one of y'all was sure y'all were gonna make the playoffs, but the Heat more so because they lost the first game in the tournament. I mean
to play in.
um the play in, so they had to redeem themselves. But what I'm saying is that with just because y'all got greatness on y'all roster, man, y'all in better shape than most teams. Like y'all up there, I gotta say on the western side, y'all can still probably win it all. It's just I don't think y'all gonna do it because I see if y'all fans don't even believe in what y'all got, then I know what the players are thinking. We see what the players been thinking. LeBron been saying that his son can help that team out. You know what I'm saying? Can help them win. And it's like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like just the different opinions of the people. But that shouldn't matter when it comes down to playing. I think Darvin Ham okay, he's not a good regular season coach, but I think in the playoffs, he done already proved that, hey, I can make, what I'm saying, when I got to shorten up the roster, my defense is going to win over. I think if he stick with his defensive philosophy and just make the play in, y'all going to be fine. So I don't see what the worry in LA. Why is there such urgency to make moves with LeBron um, when he only signed a 2-year contract? Even if he opt out for more money, it's still going to be a 2-year contract.
Yeah, his reason.
It ain't like he's trying to
why
sign 10 years.
That's why he does it, so he can continue to raise up with that. Once they came up with that provision in contracts, everyone does that. They only sign an X amount of year contract, and they sit up and go. Hell, Kobe did it too. He signed an extra 2-year contract, opt out in the second year, and go into free agency and make yourself. And you have flexibility or the ability to raise your salary.
Well, it's like, but why not though? Like, LeBron at his age, you can't be locked into a long term contract that you can't fulfill. So like, I mean, I agree with the 2-year basis. We saw the same thing. Michael Jordan did the same thing, right? Like coming towards his end of the reign with the Bulls, he was kind of like 1 2 year deals. He wasn't signing long term. Um, it makes sense when like when you've accomplished as much as LeBron, why would you lock yourself into a long term deal? One, two, you don't know when your body gonna completely give out. We start to see the breakdown of his body as the years went on, right? Like the only time the Lakers didn't make the playoffs since he's been there is because he's been injured, right? Like he was injured a couple of times coming down the stretches of whatever. So I really look at it like the Lakers shouldn't have to worry as much as they worry. Is all I'm saying. Like why are we always talking about this squad that's better off? We know they'll be better off than most teams. Like Phoenix. I think Phoenix is more in danger of not going anywhere than the Lakers are. And Phoenix got a better record
and a better team. So switching up a little bit, we were just talking about. We know that the some people are still reeling. Some people, when I mean me, is still reeling from the 2 weeks ago, which we know the NFL's Super Bowl ended with the Kansas City Chiefs being victorious. Now, of course, we start to move and proceed into the off seasons, and with that progression into the off season, there's a couple of things that have taken place. Of course, running back Mike Davis has decided to retire after 8 seasons. Mike Davis, as we know, has played with 6 different teams, ranging from the Panthers, the 49ers, the Seahawks, and others. He's decided to call it quits after 8 seasons. The Patriots, Slater has decided to retire and call it quits. A 10-time Pro Bowler paid for the New England Patriots is on his way out. I'm willing to bet that he's going to rear his head back at some point on the roster, on the coaching staff with Coach Mayo.
Hall of Fame.
True that.
Special teams player, right?
Yeah.
Later.
Nelson Aguilar has decided to return 1 year with the Baltimore Ravens on a 1-year extension, in which Nelson it's just a $1.6 million extension that's coming up. So he's coming back. He's going to be continue to be a part of that receiving room in Baltimore.
Did the Ravens we talked. The Ravens had the best receiving core they've had since Lamar Jackson been there, and it still wasn't that great. Go figure.
And
Go
so,
figure.
which I just said, I was about to ask the question, but I want to save the question. But I do have a question to run that back. But that is we are on the same wavelengths, of course. And then in other things that's not necessary news. Of course, the two juveniles in the shooting at Chiefs parade has been charged. Taylor Swift has went forth and for all the victims of the shooting has gives $100,000 to the victims, I guess, for them to be able to split. But back in the front of actual ball, we know the UFL is coming up at the end of the season. I mean, towards the end of March, in which spring ball is going to be full in effect. UFL and the XFL, USFL and the XFL merge, create the UFL now. And just the other day, Donovan was speaking to how he would have took McCarron's over who he said McCarron's over Russell Wilson. McCarron's assigned by the agreed to terms with the Battlehawks, in which he's going to be playing for the Battlehawks in the UFL. That's going to be his squad. But now the interesting thing, I think, of all the things that are currently out there, and I know there's a plethora of other things, is Jimmy Garoppolo gets a 2-game ban for a prescribed enhancement drug in which he knowingly or unknowingly partook of. So now Jimmy Garoppolo, who was due to make $12 million for a roster bonus increase, is probably in danger of making that due to the fact that he's probably going to get released, and not to mention due to the violation and the ban, he's going to lose another 12.5 million. So he's looking at losing a total of 12.2. So he's looking at losing $22.5 million and possibly being, if he gets released before the deadline next month, which now puts Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell in as the only wide quarterbacks on the Las Vegas Raiders roster. How does Jimmy Garoppolo fall so hard?
Man, it's just life, right? Like I look at Garoppolo, it's life, right? Like he was flying high for a while, but hey, it's the ego, it's what comes with the game, and it's wanting to be it's still wanting to try to compete in some ways, right? But then it's also understanding the decline. Like some people can't handle the decline as well as they can handle the rise. You know what I mean? Like some people can't handle the rise, some people can't handle the decline. You know what I mean? And he definitely right now can't handle the decline. I blame the 49ers. I blame Kyle Shanahan.
So it's funny because I
I
was
blame
like,
Shanahan.
send him back to San Fran. Let him be a backup there because that's basically what he's going to. He's going to be in a backup.
No,
Yeah.
if you Jimmy G, you never go back to those. No, they didn't want you. Which is funny because they got the same results in the Super Bowl without you, and they ain't talking that noise about Purdy like that. Just saying.
So it wasn't. So I don't think it was that we didn't want Jimmy. It's Jimmy didn't want to be there because he said, like as you just said, his decline was coming. He was about to be
No,
forced. He's still competitive.
Shanahan didn't want him. Shanahan been trying to replace Shanahan. We saw that Shanahan tried to replace that man with anybody, like Trey Lance. He tried to he tried to replace him with Trey Lance. He tried to replace him like for real. Like if Nick Mullins would have shown more promise in practice, he would have replaced him with he would have tried to replace Jimmy G. Like, but Purdy is the only Purdy ain't been there that long, but Purdy is the only other quarterback besides Jimmy G that Kyle Shanahan got a decent record with as a head coach, right? Like that's all I'm saying is that you won a lot of games with this guy. He took you to a Super Bowl, and then you basically just keep showing off. Bash has said that you can't win with this guy, but you really haven't won all that much without him. To be honest, I mean Purdy is that guy for you now. Don't get me wrong, I like Purdy, but what I'm saying is that when you really look at the optics, I mean, and you have to look at it like I look at Jimmy G's situation like Lamar Odom. We were talking Lamar Odom the other day, like Lamar Odom's situation without Phil Jackson, right? Like he said, that it put him in a tailspin, right? It messed his mind up, messed up his confidence and all that. I think the league can do that to you. It can chew you up and spit you out like that. Now, I'm joking a little bit when I say it's Shanahan, but it's really, but when you look at it, yeah, that really affect. You can't tell me that didn't have an effect on Jimmy G. Whereas, like, hey, I'm coaching a championship. I mean, I'm quarterbacking on a championship caliber team, but my coach is constantly saying that, or constantly showing me that he want to just replace me with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like you lost your job to you lost finally you lost your job at San Fran to Mr. Irrelevant.
So
To Mr. Irrelevant.
and then but now it seems like Jimmy is Mr. Irrelevant because he went from signing a 3 year, $72 million deal or 75 million, whatever it was, to now potentially looking at being dropped or dropped way from the roster to where putting them back in free agency because of the ban, it voids his contract. So he's going to be a casualty of all from the ban. He's going to be a casualty from them releasing him early, and so that way he doesn't get the bonus, the roster bonus. And now he's going to sit up in like they won't even keep you around to compete against Hoyer and
O'Connell. They got other plans, right? The Raiders are going to get a quarterback out of this.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get one in the
draft.
Out
of the draft. If not out of the draft, then they're going to get one free agent or something. So they're already looking past Jimmy G. Jimmy G wasn't that guy last year. Like, he wasn't in sync with the receivers. We saw him play. Like, I actually think injuries have caught up to him. But I also think his confidence is shook. We saw it happen with Carson Wentz as well, right? Once your confidence is shook, man, it's hard to recover. It's hard to recover for anybody. Sam Darnold, same thing, confidence shook. You out of there. Like those other two are backups somewhere, but I'm not sure Jimmy G is built to be a backup. So for him, it might be kind of retired.
Time to hang him up.
Yeah, because I don't see Jimmy G as a backup.
So looking at the upcoming free agency, I know I was able to catch just a glimpse of it in reference to ESPN taking a look at some of the top what they see as some of the top 50 stars that are going to be. He said he might be able to Joe Flacco. Who's going to be the top stars that's going to be out there for free agency? Of course, at the top of that is none other than Chris Jones. Where do you think is the best fit for Chris Jones? Is it staying in Kansas City or moving on to, let's say, the 49ers or somebody like that?
It depends on what Chris Jones is about right now. If he's about the money, then go elsewhere. But if you're about winning, stay in Kansas City. Kansas City gonna do everything in their power to keep you. But just understand that once you leave Kansas City, you might not ever reach the top again as Tyreek Hill. So if you want to compete for championships, stay in Kansas City. If you want the money, go elsewhere.
It's crazy that Trey. Remember this last year, CC? How Trey used to hit me up. Why you trying to get Philadelphia trying to get everybody? Why do you ask where would Jones be better staying at Kansas City or going over to San Francisco? Why is San Francisco an option?
Why is San Francisco an option?
Why you can't answer a question with a question? Why is San Francisco an option?
Because
is that one of y'all biggest needs? No, it is not.
It's not the biggest need, but he's a player that can be helped. Just like I said, Reddick. Hey,
what up, boo?
Go holler at Reddick. Bring Reddick on too. We'll take him. Y'all don't want him. Y'all said he asked for a trade, but he comes back and said, I ain't asked for anything. But I know how to be.
We didn't say we didn't.
The right on the wall is simple. It's simple. The 49ers got to do something. Like, that defense, we saw what happened to it. They lost in the Super Bowl again. Like, for real. Twice that defense has cost them in the Super Bowl when you really look at it. So I see why they want to add this piece and add that piece. But when they gonna learn that it's not just about adding pieces, the the pieces, those that are winning the championship, those sometimes the individual player has to step up. The individual, um, it's like my Cowboys. We never step up in big games. Not even the individuals, right? We was bashing, like me. I've been bashing Michael Parsons, right? Like where you at when it counts the most? Like when we need a sack for real, where you at? You know what I'm saying? When we need a play for real, where these guys at? Where was Bland at when we need? Man, we need you to knock a pass down. We need you to do something. Where these guys at? Like the 49ers have to start asking themselves that question instead of trying to get all these pieces. Like y'all got
Thank,
all these players.
thank you,
You got
CC.
Fred Warner. You got all these players. You got you
How
got
many blowing players they need, bro?
what's his name? Tre'Davious Ward. You got you got
They,
all these players.
they just picked up a boy from Washington. What's his name?
Chase Young.
Chase Young.
That was
Y'all
just
got
like
all these players. But where y'all at when? Where was y'all at when y'all needed to stop Mahomes? At least
That
hold
part.
him to a field goal. I mean, my thing was it's one thing to let them in the red zone, but then you know you can't let them score a touchdown. I mean,
That
so
part.
where was that defense? I'm saying somebody got to make a play, right? Like in
That part.
every, Aaron Donald. Hey, Aaron Donald gets all the credit because he made the plays in that Super Bowl. Did he not? When it was
He
time to
did.
shut Joe Burrow down, he shut Joe Burrow down.
so. Let's keep in mind
Oh, here we
that
go. Here come the
let's keep
nonsense.
in mind
Here it comes.
that
Here it
Drake
comes.
Greenlaw would have been
Here, I
around.
knew it. I
That's
knew he would
one
have.
person.
There you go with that again. This
Tell
dude, one person.
Hafunga went out early in the year. He was
Trey,
on his way to being an All Pro for
Trey,
safety. He was in
But
the
they don't nearly
Trey,
mention. They don't mention Green.
we
Trey,
had
But they don't mention Greenlaw as much as
Trey.
they mention Fred Warner, as much as
How
they
many
mention
players are on the
Bosa,
field, Trey?
as much as they mention these other players. Like they were still there,
How many
and
players are
nobody
on the
made a
field?
play.
there's
None of
always
them made a play
Trey,
when it counted.
how
there's
many players
always
are on the field, Trey?
we are it's 11 players on the field.
So how does
So
one person? How does
it makes a
one
difference.
person?
It makes
No,
a difference.
no,
It
Trey,
makes a huge difference. When you
Trey,
sit up and
no.
so look at it, right?
So
How many times have you listened to an album, right? Y'all all like music. You're musically inclined. How many times have you listened to an album that, yes, you put out the top singles, right? But there's always a song on an album that no one else that listen that you will only if you have the album, you was like, this is a fire song. Like this is lit. This song is probably one of the better songs on the album. That's the same thing with
no, Trey, you is not going to
teams.
compare a
You have
track
players.
to a
You
person.
have your top
You are
players.
not supposed to do that,
You have
Trey.
your
That
top
is
players.
no,
You
Trey.
have your top
This is my
players.
thing. Just because Greenlaw went out, does that mean
It make a
everybody
huge
else forgot? Does that mean everybody else forgot how to tackle?
That's not what that means. It does not
Okay,
mean
so
that. But what I'm saying is, it's
if
a
everybody
key
didn't forget how to
area.
tackle, if Greenlaw missed a tackle, somebody else was gonna have to make the tackle too.
Well, true that. It's something.
Okay, so therefore it ain't Greenlaw. Greenlaw isn't the reason y'all lost.
I'm not saying Greenlaw is the reason we lost, but it is a factor in why we lost because you replace a second team. I'm not talking about a second team Pro Bowler. I'm not talking about someone that was on a Pro Bowl and he got replaced. Greenlaw goes down. You have to replace a second team All Pro linebacker with a dude that is just on a roster.
Who's your other Pro? Okay, who's your other Pro?
Trey.
Who's your other Pro Bowler on that defense?
Trey, I want to ask you this. Y'all got some all pro.
Warner. Warner's
Okay,
a
who else?
team, but he didn't go down.
Okay, who's your other Pro Bowler on that team?
I just wanted to point this out.
Bosa. So you still got two
all pros. I'm talking all pros. We had a bunch of Pro Bowlers, but he's
I just want to point this out. I just want to point this out about the difference. The difference that I'm talking about is this. When the 49ers had the ball in that overtime, they had to settle for a field goal, correct?
Correct. They did.
On that third down play, what happened? Who was putting pressure? Like it was some pressure. It was some pressure being brought.
Hey, Grant, it was, but when you look at the breakdown, and I even showed this, and look, I sent Bishop a clip, and he was like, "Oh man, here we go." It's like when I produce receipts, then it's like, "Oh, here we go." But it is what it is. So, but in the instance in which we're talking about right now, it was a breakdown on the offensive line because the player the left guard, the right guard. I mean, the right guard went to help block with the center, and Chris Jones beat the right tackle. That's what happened. So
what does that have to do? So what does that have to do with Greenlaw?
So that's what happened. That's how Chris Jones came unblocking, which people say, how do you go help block someone else when Chris Jones, the best rusher on the defense, is coming on that time frame? Again, bad. I ain't gonna say bad play calling, but it was just an unfortunate event, and that time frame.
But here's my point.
Okay.
Who made the play?
Chris Jones.
Who made the play?
Chris Jones.
Exactly. On your side of the ball, you got Bosa, you got Young, you got Warner, you got Tre'Davious Ward. You mean to tell me collectively nobody on that defense could make
Thank you, CC.
Make a stop.
Thank
and y'all
you,
had them at fourth
CC.
down. Y'all had them at fourth down, and y'all had a couple of third downs and some fourth downs to make some plays.
Now, if I remember correctly, the third down in which you're talking about, if I remember correctly, down what you're talking about was a very controversial call to where it looks like the ball was short. Am I correct?
No.
Whoa.
Where?
No, I think they marked the ball short, right?
They marked the ball short.
I'm talking about it was fourth down.
It was fourth
y'all
down.
Y'all had a chance on fourth down. Y'all had a couple of chances on third down to put them in other fourth down positions, and y'all could not do it.
When it came down to the final play, the scoring play that ended the Super Bowl, I said that it was a masterful call by Andy Reid. When
you got to that point, look how far downfield they had to go.
They went the whole length of the field, though.
They went the length of the field.
That's no difference from what San Francisco did. The same thing the drive prior. It's just
San Francisco got stopped and had to kick a field goal. No, San Francisco got stopped.
That's the difference.
Because you got to take in consideration. And you got to take in consideration during that time frame. You had the play in which Eli Mitchell had a nice play, but then you had the backup tight end who came in that pulled the holding play that negated that. So it's different things that took place within the confines or parameters of the game. So, but yes, they set up. It was a miscue on offense that allowed Chris Jones to get into the
defense. You refuse to admit that defense make all that noise and talk all that noise, but didn't make it stop when they supposed to. And it's the second Super Bowl that this defense has been heralded as one of the best. It's not the best defense in the game and couldn't get it done. They couldn't stop. You got to stop somebody.
There's no, for one, like I said, a key cog in the defense was not there. First and foremost, we can sit up and say that all day. We can keep, like I sit up and say, we're talking about a heralded defense and talk about how they talk and stuff like that. True enough, that is that. But let's not dismiss the fact of one of those key individuals in which we talk about, probably one of the people that did the most talking, was not there because he tore his ACL. So he's a key point in it. So you replace a key person in that defense, like you said, the person that's doing the talking, and you put him with someone that just sits on the sideline and gets minutes here and there. So when he was asked to answer the bell, he did it, but he didn't do it as such because he was one of the main reasons why we talk about the third downs and stuff like that he was catching the ball. He was catching the ball corner. They set up and broke down when you look at what Dre Greenlaw did prior to his injury and what Bird did after his injury. It was like it was a complete different. They started picking on Bird. It's a difference, and that's what you do. It's a part of the game. But what I'm saying is, continue to think about it. Look at it is they did that in the piece, and they didn't do that on Dre Greenlaw because prior to Dre Greenlaw going down, they was dead in the water.
I think the point is simple. The point is simple. Those dudes didn't make plays when they had to. As 49er fans, y'all always say that the Cowboy fans are horrible. When y'all support y'all team, y'all come up with whatever to say.
I'm speaking
it's not Greenlaw.
Back at any time,
you have to make a play, right? No matter who on the field. Okay,
somebody has to make a play.
When Philly won, we talked about this before too, right? When Philly won the Super Bowl, they were going to lose that Super Bowl. Everybody saw it coming. Brady was going to win, but a great individual play, a sack fumble, is why we ain't talking Brady coming back to win that game. over Nick Foles. Like we talking Nick Foles beat Brady in the Super Bowl because some defensive player took it on themselves to say, "Hey, we gonna put
To
an
make a
end to
play.
this right here."
To
Like
make a play.
you guys didn't do that.
Again,
Like
again,
Warner, Bosa,
All those
Young.
pro
No matter
ballers.
who y'all had on the
Yep.
field,
let's
Hargrave. No matter who y'all had on the field, didn't you know
keep
what
it
I'm
in
saying?
perspective. One of the key things that they did is stayed away from Bosa. Bosa was on the left side of the field. What side of the field did they run to? They sent the play to the right side of the field. They sent
That's
McCall
just smart
Hardman.
play.
They sent,
I mean, that's just a
yeah,
smart play.
they sent McCarthy. So what I'm saying is, it's true enough. Like he's not. We're talking about Chris Jones as a defensive tackle. He comes straight up the field. He doesn't play a right side or left side of the field. So it's a
He
little
plays the
harder.
middle. Right.
He plays the middle, so it's a little harder
Right.
to scheme against a defensive tackle that's coming up the middle of the field. However, it was a bad part on that guard, on that lineman who went to the wrong side to protect. He went to the left side when he should have went to the right side, and that's what freed Chris Jones to come up the field and be able to make that play. I don't dispute that. He made a play. He forced the pressure to where Brock Purdy didn't have enough time to sit and wait to where he could have hit Jawan Jennings, who was open, and it would have been a walk-in touchdown. Now, when you go down to the other side of the field, again, everything, the right side, the left side of the field is isolated. They decided to go to the right side of the field. They got through the play. They got exactly what they wanted. McCall Hardman went in motion, and once the ball was snapped, he cut back. He did a backdoor. He cut back, and went up the field and didn't have. But because Kelsey, who is a key player in the red zone for Kansas City, he drew all the attention. That was
y'all didn't have chances. So Trey, y'all didn't have chances to stop them before they got to the red zone. Like how many plays the Kansas City Chiefs ran? Like they went on like a 10-11 play drive to finish the game. Like
that's the part. If correct me if I'm wrong, that is a part of the game. Like in state, it comes down to the part of the game. It's one of the things that happen. Like you have teams that go on drives, and you just like I said prior to that, we did the same thing. But it wasn't the Kansas City defense that stopped us. It was a miscue on our offense that allowed them to be able to get up the field to stop us.
No, you can't say that, Trey.
No.
No, you cannot.
So you
say Kansas City defense stopped y'all.
Yes, they
Whether
stopped
you
y'all.
whether
Y'all kicked the field goal.
whether you look at how you look at it,
When did we kick
they
the field
stopped
goal?
you though
The
because
play
they stopped
was-
you.
Because
Y'all
our
kicked the
man,
field goal.
the only when you look at the play, go back and look at the play. He
So this is my thing, Trey. So
you
if
think
that's the case,
you think it was their plan? You think it was their plan to let Chris Jones come up the field unblocked almost?
no, I'm not saying that's their plan. However, because of a miscue, I
happened.
get that. Right,
Yeah.
but it's still
So
good.
that's what I'm
But
saying.
they still stopped y'all. And regardless of
Chris
the fact,
Jones was blocked, if Chris
it's
Jones
still a
was blocked,
stop,
that's
though.
a touchdown.
no, you not necessarily. You don't know that. You don't know that.
It's more than likely because
don't
Jawan
know
Jennings was the same play that Kansas City ran is the same play that we ran. Chris Jennings was wide open. His
There was a
corner
player.
was
There was the difference is y'all wasn't as close to the end zone as Kansas City was. That's not guaranteed.
It would have extended the play. But what I'm saying is,
No, because I don't even think it would have extended the play because y'all couldn't have got a first down.
Yes, we could have. It was like it was on. We had went back for the holding call.
Right. So y'all couldn't. Yeah,
He
but it
could've
was still okay. Depending on where he would have got, if he'd have got stopped, where he would have got stopped. It would have still been fourth down. So now you would have had a decision. But either way, y'all still had a decision.
If it was fourth down, I think at that point, well, they probably would still kick the field goal unless they felt like you got a chance. I mean, we got Christian McCaffrey. That's like we looking at the whole beast mode, the whole thing again. To where, so for me, when I look at it as if Chris Jones, like it's hard to say, but even commentators, even the great Tony Romo looked at the play, and when they stood up and did it, Jawan Jennings was wide open. The only thing is, Brock Purdy had no time because Jones was in the backfield. If you have a mere second to sit up and be able for him to set his feet, it's probably a great possibility.
We talking about your defense though, and how much help y'all need on defense. Like your defense, y'all knew y'all need to hold on the three. I know in order to keep that game tied, y'all had to hold on the three, and y'all could not hold on the three. Is what I'm saying. That defense, that boisterous defense that's been heralded, that's been talked about. Are they first or second? They got the second best defense, first best defense. They top 5, top 3 or whatever.
Both teams was
When it
top
came
five.
down to it, they couldn't make a stop. They couldn't hold them to a field goal.
Both teams were top 5 defenses.
When it came down to it, they couldn't hold them to a field goal. And that's my point. So my point is, how much help do y'all need before y'all realize that it's gonna be some
You get
individual effort?
you get
It's not
help.
gonna be
You get
it's not gonna
help.
be the names on the jersey. It's gonna be somebody putting forth an effort.
But of course, everyone doesn't. Everyone, it comes in levels. So, like I said, we had 2 All-Pro linebackers that played in our defense. When it came down to it, the first half of that offense, both All-Pro linebackers came, and it was very so much so you can view and see like this is a top-ranked defense. One of those All-Pro linebackers go down, then the tide turns. So you can sit up and put together too, like, hey, I mean, we can say whatever. Oh, it was going to happen. That's maybe not. But what we know for a fact is, before Greenlaw goes down, it's a problem. Kansas City is having issues and problems. They can't move the ball. They can't score. Greenlaw goes down. You bring someone else in to play that position that isn't the same type of caliber that Greenlaw is, and now you start to slowly but surely see the trickle effect of what that is until it came down to where now we're looking at it as a back and forth war. So even with that, it's still, you know what I'm saying, it just became one outplayed the other at the end of the game. But prior to that, when we talk about, yes, the heralded defense with all the pieces that had got them there was on display, and they were showing we are that defense and this is who we are. You lose one of those pieces, you don't have. Here's the reason why I say something like, yeah, bring Chris Jones on, because if he's a piece that now, if we lose, I mean, of course, we know if he was to come, or Hassan Reddick or any of them was to come, they become starters. And if we can pay the people that sit behind them, then we continue to bolster and have a heralded defense because we have someone that can replace them that is of a certain caliber. That's why I say that. It's like you want to be able to replace someone that if it goes down, we have Hufanga go down. You had an all right player in his place. You had when Dre Greenlaw went down, we didn't have another linebacker that was able to replace him in his place. We had someone that it wasn't the same, and the caliber isn't the same. But if they're on a roster, but the caliber isn't the same. So now we have to sit up and compete against that, and you have to do the best that you can to sit up and compete against that. And we didn't have enough. It wasn't enough at the end of the day because Bird was getting toasted, like he was getting worked over. They was working him. They sit up and even pointed out what the percentage of the balls was that he allowed to get catch. It was like a high 90%. Like he was almost ineffective. He was there on the ball, but then of course you had the times in which he caught the ball and he was getting the ball. They was catching the ball for a 3-yard dump off, and next thing you know, they done drove him 5 additional yards to get the first down. It's like the first time of contact was 3 yards ago. How are we at the first down when it was first and 10? He catch the ball at the 3-yard line. You made contact at the 3-yard line, and here we are now at the 11-yard line. You got drove off the ball. Like that's that's the difference. It was the caliber of player wasn't the same, and it makes a huge difference, especially when you're playing against the Patrick Mahomes, Isaiah Pacheco, Rice, Kelsey. It makes a difference. Witchcraft, hell no. But yeah, so I mean, like I said again, hats off to Kansas City. They did exactly what they needed to do, and I still remain the same. Like y'all can call it what they want, what you want. If I'm saying come on, like yes, come on. Defense to win ball games. I continue to think that. So if we can get Chris Jones, Hassan Reddick, I'm fine with it. Push.
Hey, I'm just saying, y'all
steady trying to add
sound
to
like
the defense, but the defense. So if one of them go down, y'all gonna be right back at the same boat.
right.
That's why
same.
here's the reason I said you stack it, then you ain't got to worry about that.
Oh my God, bro!
If I set up a stack of defense, I ain't got to worry about that. My next man up is better than your next man up. That's what you want. No difference. So that's what you want. Just like the same thing with keeping a wide quarterback. If my top tier quarterback goes down, next man up. San Francisco did that all the last year. Trey Lance went down. Enter Jimmy Garoppolo. Keep the party going along. Jimmy Garoppolo go down. We didn't know. They believed San Francisco believed it. I mean, Shanahan believed it. Next man up, Brock Purdy. Hey, keep the party going until we didn't have that. When Brock Purdy went down, Jimmy Garoppolo would have been the next thing, but he wasn't able to play because he was coming off of his he was still injured. He was supposed to be activated the next week to be able to play, to be a backup in the Super Bowl, but it happened a game too early. So that's what it is. You want to have a caliber player as your next man up if possible.
Bro, so I'm looking at that play. That play is not guaranteed. He is not wide open. The closest person to him is 2 yards away. That is not a guarantee.
All he has to do is get the ball. He has to do is catch the ball. He didn't have it starts with the ball in hand. He had enough. It was enough 2 yards, enough room to have a catch.
Bro, look how close. I just want y'all to see how close he is to this guy, bro. I want you to just, and I'm not even going to play it out. I'm just going to show you how close he is. Look how close. This is him right here. This is the man defending him. That's not guaranteed. That's a thrown away ball. It's a thrown away ball. Just so you know, it is thrown away. That's a thrown away ball. But look how I'm gonna play just a little bit.
Ready for the
I'm about to run it. Here it is. CC, you tell me, is that's guaranteed? This is only if it's a perfect throw. It has to be perfect. Because he's the defender is there. He's not, it's no way near like, oh boys. Look how close that's not guaranteed.
You're look at what he did. He had no time. It was a thrown away ball. You think he was going to throw it up the field like that if he had time?
I'm not worried. Listen, I'm not even worried about the throw. I'm talking about how close the defender is.
But the play, what you don't see is what the play was. It was the exact same play that Kansas City scored on at the goal line.
And I'm glad you said that, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get to the one. I'm gonna show you it's not the same because the defender for Kansas City or the defender for San Francisco was nowhere near as close as that dude.
But the defender for San Francisco went with because they were his own. He went with Kelly.
It's a totally different play.
But what I'm saying is he ran the same. I'm saying he ran the same route that gave him the.
Oh, that might have been the same route, but I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He ran the same route that gave him the separation that he needed to be able to complete the pass. That's what I'm saying. It would have been a completed pass. Now, had it been a touchdown or not, we don't know. But it would have been a completed pass in which they needed.
Maybe.
And so,
yeah, because we're talking about San Francisco's. I mean, Kansas City's DBs played lights out that entire game.
Except for on Jauan Jennings, here's the reason they went through him. He was murdering them.
He caught one touchdown.
He caught one touchdown, but it was the intermediates, the other stuff. It ain't all about touchdowns.
But it never got him in the end zone. They got in the end zone twice that whole game.
They kept the ball.
And they got in the end zone. So listen, it's a Super Bowl. You're going to get in the end zone. It's a part.
I'm not even talking about the end zone. You got to get down there.
The only other time they scored a touchdown was with McCaffrey on a back throw pass.
But what I'm saying is with Jauan Jennings was the most successful receiver versus Kansas City's DBs. That's what I'm saying. Hence the reason that was the ball was to him. The Debo was on lock. Brandon Ayuk was murdering their safeties, but he wasn't doing too much against that. Jauan Jennings was the only one that was having success against their DBs.
Look at the difference. This is the game-winning play for Kansas City. Look at the difference. Here's Nicole Hardman, right? It doesn't matter, but look,
it makes a huge difference. The person that you see right here up in the upper left-hand corner, that's Travis Kelce. The DB that should have been on Mecole Hardman.
How many yards is? But listen to me. How many yards is he off of Mecole Hardman?
Because Mecole Hardman went in. Mecole Hardman went in motion.
We all know he went. We all know he went in motion. We all got that. The fact of the matter is, your man didn't go in motion. That's the difference. Your man.
So what I'm saying is, listen, we're saying the same thing, but it's a difference. So Mecole Hardman's man went in motion. Mecole Hardman went in motion. I can't remember who it was. Went with him. He backdoored. When he backdoored, they snapped the ball, which means, and they sent Travis Kelce up the field into the end zone. So he had to make a difference. So if you see there's a linebacker that's coming down the field that has to choose between going with Mecole Hardman or going after Patrick Mahomes, that is coming down the field. So he has to make a choice. That man that should have been on Mecole Hardman was already out of place because he got stuck up going with Travis Kelce. Now, the difference with the San Francisco 49ers play is The player he with what's his name ran a route inside and then cut back outside. He didn't Brock Purdy never had a chance to set his feet, so he didn't have a chance to throw the pass to him going in the out. So yeah, it's the same play in which they ran, presumably, except for Mecole Hardman.
I want you to see. Look, okay. Look, Mecole Hardman's finna go in motion. No one goes in motion with him. So look, he doesn't. 33 doesn't have to go to him. No, he doesn't. So I just wanted you to. I wanted to show you 33 didn't, because it was 2 San Francisco 49ers. There was one guy that was responsible for Mahomes. There was another guy that should have been responsible for
the person who was responsible for Mecole Hardman was inside with Travis Kelce.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he is. He's sitting right there. Then you got the linebacker that's going to come down.
So which one? Which one is for which
the one that's sitting with the one that's sitting up waiting for him to make a move? He's sitting in the end zone. He got the right foot in the end zone, the left foot outside the end zone. Oh, he goes with Travis Kelce.
Right.
Okay. Travis Kelce freezes
got
him.
you. Okay, got you. So the guy that's in the end zone got 1 foot in the end zone, 1 foot out of the end zone. He's the one that's got Travis Kelce, right?
He goes with Travis Kelce. He was supposed to be on Mecole Hardman.
No, he was. Listen, watch.
He was sitting right behind him. He was the closest man to the outside of the field. So
look, listen, watch. Now look. He's still this dude you just talked about. Listen, he's still with Kelce, but look at 33 that's going through the hole. That's going with Mecole Hardman right here. There's a guy right here.
That was the spy. He came down like they said. He was going. Okay. He had to make a choice: go with Hardman or Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes even said that was the play. That was their play.
Okay,
and Mahomes said he was going to take it if he went with Mecole Hardman.
Okay, stop. Okay, got you. So this guy that's right here and that's in this gap is supposed to be either with Mahomes or with Hardman. Which one?
It was on him. It was his choice.
Okay,
he had to make a choice. They made him do it. He was 1-on-1. It was 2-on-1 in state.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Watch this. CC, here come my point right here. Watch. Now, who's this guy that comes into play? Right here.
That's Warner.
Okay, so now who has Patrick Mahomes?
That's why Patrick Mahomes threw the ball. He has those 2 yards that you was talking about on the other side. That's enough. That 2 yards are enough. The other dude who was on the backside that went with Travis Kelce should have been there to stick him before when he got the ball. He's not there because he went with Travis Kelce.
If that safety that you're talking about doesn't stick. If that safety goes with Mecole Hardman, that leaves Kelce wide open.
No. What I'm saying, I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is that wasn't from what they said. It wasn't his. Travis Kelce pulled them out of position. Fred Warner comes up in the hole. Mahomes, because Mahomes said if old dude had went with Mecole Hardman, he was going to take it, but Warner steps up in the hole, and Mecole Hardman has my man beat because he ran the play that came back out, what gave him the advantage because he still was moving in motion. But Patrick Mahomes he's 2 yards, like the same 2 yards we said with Jawan Jennings. That's what Mecole Hardman has right now, which is an easy one because the other safety is with Travis Kelce. It's a walk-in. But what I was saying is, if the person that went with Travis Kelce was able to come down and make a stick on that, he could have stopped that play, but it wasn't there. It was a masterful play. Like they said, that's what they wanted. They got exactly what they wanted.
So with all that being said, with old boy being in there, with old boy that tore his Achilles, if he was in there, would the play made it any different?
I believe so. Yeah, it's a difference.
No. How?
That's Bird. Ain't that Bird? Ain't that number? Ain't that 33? Ain't that Bird?
Oh, I don't know y'all players. But
it's Bird. Greenlaw,
okay.
That play is different.
So
it's fair to say he might not even be in that position if Greenlaw is in the game. But we all know
why wouldn't we be in that position? Because y'all still did what y'all did on offense.
I'm saying we wouldn't even be in an overtime, is what I'm saying. Greenlaw in the game kept Kansas City at bay. Kansas City didn't start to make their difference and make a difference until after Greenlaw left the game.
The tide turned when y'all fumbled that ball.
The tide turned when we lost Greenlaw. Even if that's an offensive play. That's all you're talking about. Yeah, that's after Greenlaw. But like, it's a
But
difference.
that had
The
nothing to do with Greenlaw, though.
The defense was playing lights out prior to Greenlaw being out the game. True enough, we lost the ball. We lost the ball. I mean, we can look at you can see it. When Greenlaw went out, the tide started to turn. The defense was not playing the same. The defense came out and stopped Kansas City the first drive. The very first drive in the beginning of the second half, the defense came out and stopped Kansas City. True enough.
Without
Greenlaw, but that's one play. We're talking about a whole.
No, it's 4 plays.
Well,
they stopped them in the tide turn. But that's when the tide.
We're talking about a whole half. That's Greenlaw, with Greenlaw in the game, the San Francisco had Kansas City on lockdown for the majority of the first half. Greenlaw goes down late in the second quarter, and then now you start to see the time. So then Kansas City, they came out in the first half to stop them, but prior to that, they had already started to score. The tide had already changed. Like you said, it did go awry when Odoo fumbled the ball. But that's on offense. But of course, the defense had already, at this point, Kansas City had been up.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
How did Kansas City?
I know. I feel what you're saying as far as Greenlaw was putting a better effort, but I'm not going to say that Greenlaw, they was exactly shutting them down because Kansas City fumbled the ball too. You got to remember that. And I think Greenlaw was still in the game when they fumbled the ball. When they got down there to score or whatever, and it cost them a score. Pacheco fumble cost them a scoring possession down there when he fumbled that rock down there. So I'm not gonna say that Greenlaw was holding them when they went. I mean, he threw a bomb downfield like 52 yards or something. Like they went downfield, but then Pacheco fumbled. I think Greenlaw was still in the game. And all I'm saying is that it wasn't like it was shut down with Greenlaw, like you saying it was shut down, man. It's like Kansas City just made some mistakes early.
When Greenlaw was in the game, how many points did Kansas City score?
Okay, listen.
I'm about
to tell you. Listen, they scored 3. How many points did y'all score? First half.
The game?
No, period. First half.
We scored 10.
So what's your point?
And let's face it was gonna be 10-10 if Pacheco didn't fumble that rock. You know what I'm saying? Pacheco don't fumble that rock. It was
in
gonna
the first half. Both teams fumbled. Like, what are we talking about? Both teams fumbled in the first half. It was a defensive game in the first half.
It was. So on both sides of the ball. Yeah, so what defense?
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that. It took a trick play for us to get our first score. I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that at all. I've never said anything about that. It was a defensive game, but at the point in which Greenlaw went out, Kansas City had only scored maybe 3 points. San Francisco was up 10-0. So it was a defensive game. At the point in which Greenlaw went out, that took away a portion of that defense, a key cog in the defensive scheming, to where now you have to put in somebody else. I mean, they're an NFL player. If you say in-state, you can't take that away. They're an NFL player, but now it's not the same NFL player in which you left unless you lost. And that's why I'm saying as we get down, like they say, when boxing, you take them into deep waters or whatever case like that. We was in deep waters and we was in there with a person that wasn't as experienced as said Greenlaw or anything like that, or as proficient as Greenlaw. And that's all I'm saying. It makes a difference because if Greenlaw is in, you continue to have that same energy. And then it's kind of like we can't really say necessarily. I'm just going off of what it was prior to and the possibility of what it could have been versus what it was after the fact.
Let me say this, Trey. This is why I'm assuming CC chime in if you would. I'm gonna say this because when it's all said and done, you say it boils down to personnel.
Yeah.
Who's in? Okay. So with that being said, out of the two teams on both sides of the ball, who had more talent? Because if you go by, hold on, before you answer that question,
both sides of the ball or just one side?
Both sides of the ball. Who had the most talent? Okay, so with that being said, you said that, right?
Yeah.
However, with that being said, Patrick Mahomes and that offense had nowhere near as many weapons. Yet and still, if it's one person, ain't no buts. Listen, there's no buts about that because if you're talking about personnel, Patrick Mahomes did it with less.
So
Did it with less.
About to say, true. That's true. What you can't necessarily say that because yes, San Francisco. Everyone knew San Francisco was more talented going in, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that Patrick Mahomes and his crew wasn't able to play. I mean, I never said they couldn't play.
It's not about play. What we're talking about, you're saying one person came off the field and forced your whole hand in regards to why y'all.
That was a person that was consistent in their playing.
I get it, but Patrick Mahomes has no receivers outside of Travis Kelce,
and they were still winning. They didn't
win until the end.
It's not like Travis Kelce came off the field and you put Watson in to play for him. That's not what we're saying. What I'm saying
he did it with less.
They played, but
he made it win. He did what he had to do to get a win with less.
You're talking about, but that still doesn't even fit the bill of what we're talking about. Dre Greenlaw went down in a specific game at a specific time.
That's irrelevant. You're talking about one person.
The point that you're trying to
one person decided y'all's fate.
But what I'm trying to say is, what I'm saying is, in state is Patrick Mahomes built what they built over the course of the season with the less personnel. Duly noted, got it. Yes, less personnel, but this is where he was at. He worked with them. No different from when we talk about an NBA team getting all these players and they have to build a chemistry. Kansas City had been playing with those same players, regardless of what the talent level was. They had worked it out, building it, which put them in the Super Bowl. That was what it was going on. In the case of where we talk about Dre Greenlaw was lost at a particular time, and one player was lost at a particular time, which it wasn't other players in which it wasn't like the players in which they put it in was players that was getting burned throughout the course of the season. They had to replace him. Two different things. So yes, Kansas City won with what they had less, but they had also been playing what they had less. That's just like you might have some teams when the Lakers played against the Detroit Pistons. A bunch of Hall of Famers, correct? Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Devin George. You know what I'm saying? They sit up and they was like, oh shit, this is going to be a legit team. And the Detroit Pistons, the Lakers were better. They had more, but Detroit found the way because they had been playing together, and it was a bunch of, even though it was lesser talent.
And the Lakers hadn't been playing together? And the Lakers hadn't been playing together?
Well, yes, they have been. What I'm saying is that it was more talent versus lesser talent, but the lesser talent was a talent in regardless. And they had
why? Because they had what they needed to do to get the win, bro. When it's all said and done.
And this is exactly what I'm saying, what Commissioner Myers saying. Had he not went down, would they have figured out what to do? Because at that point, they hadn't figured it out yet.
How hadn't they? He just said Pacheco went down. He just said Pacheco. They just went down the field, and if Pacheco doesn't fumble that ball, he gets in the end zone.
But that's no different from when what's his name fumbled the ball.
Y'all wasn't in the red zone when he fumbled the ball. But you talking about when you talking about McCaffrey when he fumbled the ball, y'all wasn't in the red zone. That was the middle of the field. That's not guaranteed. What I'm saying is there's no guaranteed outcome to that. Where Pacheco fumbled the ball,
neither one. But what we know
is it is where Pacheco fumbled the ball at he was going in the end zone.
Only thing that's understood and new, because again, him fumbling the ball is a part of defense. He ain't just dropped the ball; he was hit and someone forced the ball out. So he didn't just drop the ball; it was a part of the defensive effort that caused him to drop the ball. No different from anyone else, because they had about 3 or 4 fumbles up until that time frame in the first half. But only thing I'm going off of is saying that we know what it looked like prior to, and would it have continued to be the same after the fact? That's the same question which Mr. Commissioner I just asked. Is it a fair question? The question is, would they have figured it out at that point? Maybe they would have, maybe they won't. But all we know is we only can go off of what is known. And what is known is both teams was having a defensive effort game, and then only one team had the advantage from that said defensive effort. At the point, it's like once you lost a key factor in that defense, the tide seemed like it started to change. And then even after that, both teams were still scoring. Like it was like the game didn't end 13-3 or 30. Like it was an effort still continues where both offenses scored on both defenses, and then it came down to
So
a
let's
point.
roll it. So let's roll it this way, because um, you trying to defend that defense with just the Greenlaw effect, but let's look
It was
at the whole scenario. This is what I'm saying about the defense not capitalizing. Y'all was up 10-0 in that game. If it was any other time during the regular season, this, that, whatever, you get a 49ers a 10-point lead, ain't no teams coming back on y'all. Ain't no teams doing this, that. The defense had a chance to close that down completely. Y'all was up 10-0. Y'all was up
again,
10-0. Could have
again.
won that game. Could have won that game big time up 10-0. Like, for real. Like, so you can't just put it on Greenlaw. That whole defense collapsed at some point, and it took at the end of the game. Don't get me wrong, they played a good game. They played it close. It was a close game. But what I'm saying is that defense folded. Y'all was up 10-0. This is a team that's supposed to. This is a team that's supposed to have a great defense. And you said it yourself
Ain't
before.
saying that.
Remember before the Super Bowl, before we watched the Super Bowl, you told me, you said you didn't see the hype about Kansas City's defense. You said your defense was better. You know
It
what I'm
was.
saying? If you would have gave Kansas City that 10-point lead, y'all don't even get back in the game. Y'all don't even get back in the
So
game.
but you got to take into consideration, San Francisco was 30-0 before they won the last two games that they came from behind. So that's not saying anything.
But y'all
That's
was
obvious.
up.
San
But what
Francisco
I'm
was
saying is y'all was up 10-0. Your
It should
defense
have been up
had a
more than that.
10-0 lead.
up to,
Should have been up
And they
more than
couldn't
that.
stop. And they couldn't
but
stop Mahomes.
that's
And
no
they couldn't
different.
stop Kansas City. Like
Remember,
knowing what y'all had.
remember you said you got a picture from that said it looked like I was worried when we was playing Detroit.
Right.
You know why I wasn't worried at that particular time? Because there was a whole half that had to be played. So
My point is,
that's no difference from San Francisco being up by 10 points in the first
but y'all
quarter.
up 10. No, but you said to me, we just going off what we discussed. You said to me that you didn't see the hype about Kansas City defense, that your defense was better. You said
Yeah,
you knew your defense was better or whatever. Y'all had a 10-point lead, couldn't close the door. I mean, is it not disappointment on that whole defense? I mean,
no,
you
I don't
see
think so
Wilkes, they
because that's
fired
what
Wilkes.
the game is.
They fired Wilkes, but think about the
And I don't
players.
even know
Like,
why they fired Wilkes. We talked about
I mean,
that.
what
I
I'm
haven't
saying is
seen
they fired Wilkes, but when you look at it, you were saying that, hey, I don't see the hype about Kansas City
and
defense.
I,
I don't
I
see why
didn't.
they saying. But then
I never
Kansas
said
City
there was.
defense got it done, and then y'all defense, you had a 10-point lead, and y'all couldn't close. Y'all couldn't close the
What does
gap.
the 10
I
point?
mean, y'all couldn't close the door.
What does the 10-point lead have to do? We had a 10-point lead in the first quarter. It's not like we had a 10-point
What
lead.
I'm saying,
It's not like we had a 10-point lead with
I had a 10-point lead in the
with
second
6
quarter too.
minutes. No, it was 10-3. The half
At
at
the
half it
half,
was 13.
y'all
It was
got
13.
it was 10-3 at half.
it
That's what I'm
was
saying. The
10-3 at
second
half.
quarter,
Second
y'all
quarter,
was
y'all
up
had the
10.
lead, bro.
So
Y'all was up 10-0.
yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, we was up 10-0 in the first part of the game. It's still a whole nother part of the game. So I
Right.
didn't even see that 10-point as being comfortable. We're playing Patrick Mahomes. So I never sit up and say I never would have
Well,
said
now
and
you
thought
playing Patrick.
whether it was on the opposite side, like we was down all them points to Detroit. When we was down all the points to Detroit, I wasn't worried then because it's a whole nother half to play. Anything could happen. So that's the same thing mindset I had when we was up 10 points before the half. We're still it's still anything could potentially happen. Now if we're talking about 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, then we said now we're talking about something different. If it's 10 points, and now this is where we're at, that's completely different. But I look at it like that's too much time. Even when Patrick Mahomes got the ball, I was like, that's too much time. So I don't know. I'm not sitting up and you will never sit about like for one.
But here's my point. My point is if your defense is as good as you say it is, and you say defense wins championships, why y'all couldn't close the door is my point. Y'all had a 10-point lead. You keep making excuses, but y'all had a 10-point lead. Why couldn't that defense close the door? Like you keep making those excuses,
using
man.
Greenlaw
like,
as his
like,
reason.
In
He's
any case,
saying
a
Greenlaw is
defense.
the case.
No, if any case, a defense won the game. It doesn't take away because it was the 49ers. A defense won the game. Defense win championship. That doesn't change. Now, because I'm a 49er fan and we was getting the ball back, when I said defense wins ball games, offense sells tickets, that's because at that point the defense needed to stand up. But that was before overtime, in which I stood up and said that. So it still remains like defense. That doesn't change because Kansas City won. Their defense did win to put them in position to win the game.
That's my point.
I would have liked it to have been the 49ers.
That's twice the 49ers defense didn't do what they were supposed to do in a Super Bowl competition. The same thing happened in the NFC Championship game, which you dispute, and you say y'all probably would have won with Purdy. No. Did you see what happened to that defense? That defense got shellacked by the Eagles last year. I mean, the same defense that y'all keep saying is tough, and you said it yourself.
The Eagles against the Eagles, we got to take in consideration that.
But you gave up 31 points. I don't have to take that into consideration because if you would have gave up 20 points, it's a difference. If you would have gave up 15 points, it's a difference. You gave up 31. You gave up 31.
The defense
was
not
good defense. That's not good defense.
What was the time in which San Francisco had the ball? It was worn down. They was one-dimensional. They was running Purdy. Or like they couldn't throw the ball.
They gave up 31 points. This is supposed to be a good defense.
Against the defense.
First half. Okay, so put it this way.
That's going to happen to anybody.
What I'm saying is this.
Yeah, who it is.
What I'm saying is this. You can still 3-and-out a team. You can still stop drives. You can still make plays. The defense don't make the plays like they supposed to when they talk all that noise. All I'm saying is that you got Fred Warner talk noise. You got Tre'Davious Ward talk a whole lot of noise. You got a squad that talk noise. You got a squad that talk noise. Then they don't deliver when they supposed to.
I believe hugely in logic, and so without premise, there is no logic. That is just clear and concise.
Whoa! Stop it! It's a whole lot of logic. It's logic right there. The logic is y'all talk a lot of noise.
Well,
then they don't make the plays.
I mean, everyone talks. Just because you talk noise doesn't institute the
every good defense make plays. Like Chris Jones. This is my opinion in that game. It wasn't the last play. You're only looking at that one play that Chris Jones made other plays before that changed the tide of that game.
Was that one at the time?
Whose fault is it that he kept pushing his man back into your quarterback? That's an individual effort, Trey. That's an individual effort to disrupt the plays, to make the plays. You need to make the plays.
Those plays don't have any bearing on the last play in which we were not able to convert a first down or
those plays stop y'all from getting first downs. Those plays stop y'all from moving the ball, so it does count. It stopped y'all in meaningful situations. It stopped y'all from moving the ball.
When we talk about it from a whole aspect of the game,
it stopped y'all from completing passes.
It's all encompassing. Like it was that, but what we're talking about key moments.
And then when Kansas City needed a big play, whether y'all made a mistake or not, Chris Jones, that was that man again back there putting pressure on your quarterback.
Yeah, as it should
be. What I'm saying is on the other side of that. Where was your Bosa, your Warners, your whatevers when Kansas City went on this 11-play, whatever play drive to finish the game? Where was y'all stop? Where was y'all stop?
That is a part of the game.
Did Tre'Davious Ward knock a pass down?
I get what y'all trying to do.
Did Ward knock a pass down?
I get
y'all knock a pass down.
I get y'all trying to credit what I'm saying.
I'm just saying.
Like it's, I mean,
the pass deflection. Did Chase Young get a pass deflection? Did Bosa get pressure? Bosa was bringing pressure most of the game, but did he get pressure at the end of that game when they needed it the most?
That's what I was saying,
That's what I'm asking you.
At the beginning of the game, the defensive line for San Francisco was doing everything. At the beginning of the game, in the first half, the defensive line was doing everything. They was getting the defensive line was getting to Patrick Mahomes in that first half of the game. Y'all wasn't sending no blitzes. Y'all was sending straight 4 men front to Patrick Mahomes and getting to him. However, the second half, that was not the case. In that overtime, that was not the case. That 4-man front was no longer.
Y'all sit up and make a point. Y'all sit up and continue to make my point. If you have everyone that you need in the second level, you're able to do that with no problem. You don't have to worry about. You think that Utah used to worry about the fact that someone was getting beat? No, they did not. You know why? Because you had Rudy Gobert that was sitting back there as a rim protector. You're able to sit up and wait. You can sit up and do a little more with that because you have someone that's there to protect. When you sit up and have everyone in your secondary or your second line of defense that's there, you can do different things with your defensive line. At the point in which, just like we said, I talked about it before, when Patrick Mahomes started running in the second half We was running exactly where, again, sensible. It makes sense. Like I said, logic. When you sit up and run away from Fred, you send someone else to go take Fred Warner out to play, and you sit up and run away from Nick Bosa, and you go to the opposite side of the field, and it's opened up. Why? Because you have one person that's running with one, you got cornerbacks that's turned around, you got a linebacker that's sit up and chasing someone else, and it makes sense. That's what you do. That's what you call it coaching and the game planning. They did exactly what they needed to do. And so when you sit up and look at it and and you talk about that and bring it up, in-state is both teams did exactly that. One team had to win. But now what I will not sit up and do is sit up and say there wasn't factors in the situations in which stuff happened. And that would be silly to sit up and do that, because that's what happened. Like there was, like you said, Chris Jones made the play. I don't dispute that. He made the play. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. But it was a point. It's just like no different from y'all trying to point out that if Pacheco doesn't fumble the ball, he's in the if Pacheco doesn't fumble the ball, he's in the end zone, right? That's no different from the fact of what if the 49ers make a play, they win the game, or they stop them on defense, or they force them to kick a field goal. No difference from, and then which I sit up and talked about. If Moody would have made that extra point, we probably wouldn't even see overtime, because even San Francisco would have won, or Kansas City would have sit up and lost, because they would have forced them to, it would have put pressure on them to have to go down and make a touchdown, because it would have forced them to have to go for a touchdown. So we talk about
Kansas City wasn't going to lose because they was able to move the ball on that defense. In my mind, with ease, they was able to move that ball on the defense with ease. What I'm saying is, your defense didn't step up and make a play. But that's to be disputed another time, because
you say that CC, and right now they made a play right there. It was third. It was 3rd-and-1. They stopped him. Hargrave, another Pro Bowler, that made a play right there. Third. It's 4th-and-1. It's 4th-and-1. Now all you have to do is make a play here.
But that's easier said than done. Like it's a possibility. It's a 50-50. For them not to sit up and make a play does not diminish to say that they're not a defense. They're not a top tier defense. They just didn't make the play. No difference if it was on the other side of the foot.
They can't. They're not a top tier defense if they can't make a play when it counts.
They are a top tier defense. I mean, it doesn't make a difference if they can make this play or not. That's silly.
Why is that? They're not top tier if they can't make a play when it counts.
That doesn't even make sense.
Why doesn't it?
I'm just gonna say they not a championship defense like everybody keeps saying.
But
they haven't been able to make plays. They haven't made plays in the championship. You know what I'm saying? I would say they're not a championship defense because they haven't made plays in the championship.
It's almost similar to the same play in which they scored with, in which they said that's why they brought it back. So what they did is they saw as an offense, they seen what they needed.
There go Bosa though. Look at Bosa. He overran the play. Bosa didn't make the play. Did you see that? Did you see CC? You see that? Watch this again. Watch this, CC. He's making all these excuses, but watch Bosa gets in. Bosa's on that side. He overruns the play.
Like Bosa is right there to make the play.
He overruns the play. So he just hold on. He just said he ran away from Bosa, but he didn't.
No, he ran. We already knew that he ran towards Bosa.
He ran Bosa. So there goes again.
They used Bosa's aggressiveness against him.
Exactly.
On the 4th down play. And that's what I mean by individual effort. When you look at the game, I wonder if we watch the same games, because when you watch the game, the individual effort is like Bosa could have made a play, but he ran himself out of position.
His aggressiveness caused him. They ran to Bosa.
They ran right at him. On 4th down.
The game, we talk about different plays. Like Bosa does every play, they didn't run away from Bosa. And one, Bosa didn't set the edge. We all know.
But you just talked about Greenlaw being. But you talked about Greenlaw. That's the side normally Greenlaw's on, correct? Yes, that's the side Greenlaw's on.
No, he's on.
That is the left side.
Yeah, he plays on both sides.
So the defensive coordinator felt that, okay, since Greenlaw is out, let me put Bosa on the weak side now. Let me put Bosa on that side where Greenlaw came from. Therefore, so we can try and stop anything that comes that way.
But Bosa moves on both sides of the ball. He
got you. But again, when you look at it,
he usually plays the right side.
I got you. But what you fail to realize, this is what CC is talking about. Bosa has
I get that, but I guess y'all don't like. I guess y'all is thinking that I'm thinking because it's the 49ers. This conversation would be the same for me, regardless if it was the 49ers, if it was the Eagles, if it was the Cowboys, if it was the Vikings. It wouldn't make a difference because I'm not looking at the personnel.
But you know what? No, you wouldn't have the same. You wouldn't have the same. You wouldn't say the same thing, because when it comes down to it, last year's Super Bowl, nobody. You're saying y'all lost this Super Bowl because Greenlaw went out.
I said that's a key factor. Yes.
So you can't say that, because when last year, if we had so did y'all lose? Why did y'all lose to us in the NFC Championship game last year?
We was void of personnel. We had a backup. Our only quarterback in which we had went out with an injury and couldn't throw the ball. That makes the team one-dimensional. Who's going to win a national football game on all three quarters on a one-dimensional when you have two of the best defenses that's in the league that's playing? Like that's what. And then what I say is, say again.
Wasn't one of the two best defenses playing in this Super Bowl too?
Yes, it was, but what the difference is, it was a different game. Like last year in the NFC Championship game, we were void a quarterback. No one could throw the ball, so we ran the ball, and then it's only so more is y'all stopped.
When did y'all lose? But y'all didn't lose him until what? The second half?
The fourth quarter. The first quarter. He was out in the first quarter.
Brock Purdy, y'all lost Brock Purdy the first quarter.
You lost Brock Purdy in the first.
It was like the first or second drive of the game, right?
Yeah. We didn't sit up and have him. Like he was done. He was done. So and that's what I was saying. Like he was talking about the defense gave it 31 points is because we got wore down. It's like we were 3 and outs almost the whole damn game. So of course the defense is coming off. You get wore down at some point. There was no time to get. The only time they had the rest was halftime. So yes, I tell you, even the best of defense is going to get wore down at some point. It's inevitable.
See, here's the thing. You could say that they got wore down. That's neither here nor there. The thing is this right here is you kept saying your team went 3 and out on whatever it is. You can make the other team go 3 and out too, Trey. Like if your defense is solid and you understanding what you got to do, you can make the other team go 3 and out too. Like it don't have to be drive after drive after drive and get wore down. You can get off the field. You can get off the field knowing what you need to do. You can get off the field.
Yes, like, but of course.
All I'm saying is that I hear to talk about these 49ers. I hear to talk about the 49ers all the time about how good that defense is.
It is a good defense. That doesn't take anything away from it. But
no, I hear championship quality defense.
If I don't,
but they never get it done in the championship. That's twice they haven't got it done in the championship.
If I don't do it,
4 times y'all been to 4 NFC championship games, and each time that defense, like when y'all played against the Rams, the defense let y'all down again in that game against the Rams.
Yeah, they did. Tamari Stark dropped the touchdown, or dropped the interception. That was,
in my opinion, I know y'all was short-handed.
Here's the second time right here. Because y'all should have got off the field.
Every time it's that defense.
And y'all
supposed to be this defense that can shut somebody down. They never do. No matter who the defensive coordinator is, no matter who on the field for the 49ers, you hear about this defense, but they haven't been able to shut nobody down in a championship. When it's supposed to be a championship defense, but when it's championship time, they don't shut nobody down.
It is. We can say whenever 4 consecutive NFC championship games. 2 of them were Super Bowls. We lost. That's what someone has to win. Someone has to win. Someone lose. It doesn't take away from the fact of that is what they is. Just like I was about to say, I can simply be a gentleman, right? And just because I don't do a gentleman act doesn't take away the fact that I'm a gentleman. I just didn't do the gentleman act at that point. That doesn't remove the fact of if there are any team for the most part. The Baltimore Ravens was the top defense in the league. They wasn't in the Super Bowl. That doesn't take away from the fact that there was a top defense in the league. Like, what are we talking about here? That just because it just means someone has to win, someone has to lose. It's insane. Like,
you talked about how Kelsey killed y'all, but if you notice, Kelsey in this last drive, in the last 5 plays, they haven't thrown the ball to Kelsey not one time. Not one time.
It doesn't take away that Kelsey is someone that have to be guarded. Like it's still the same thing. We have to sit up and take into consideration that someone has to be guard. That someone has to guard Kelsey.
But
And
look
who
who's
they-
killing y'all though. It's not Kelsey.
It's the other players. Look at where
Right.
Kelsey's at. Kelsey's on the left side of the
listen,
field.
Okay, so no, Kelsey's on the right side of the field. But with that being said, if Kelsey
That play he just showed is Kelsey was on the left side of the field. He came off the left end.
Kelsey was on the right, bro.
Where you see Kelsey out on that play when he threw it to Pacheco? He was on the left side of the field. He was on the opposite side of the field.
No.
On his 3rd and 6, there go Kelsey right there. He's on the right side of the field.
Is that the one they just went to when he just dumped it off to Pacheco? Or that's the one to Rasheem?
Right
That's
there.
the
To
one
right.
I'm
That's
talking
the
about
one I just showed. That's the one I just showed.
The one you showed was they showed he dumped it to Rice running around the corner on the opposite side of the corner. And you was like, he's picking that was the play before that was the one you talk about. But the one you showed where you was like, this is when you was talking about the defense, it was the one that Pacheco got out the backfield after that one.
So after this one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I could have swore that was the Pacheco one before that one, but let's see. But I'm just saying,
whichever one it was the Pacheco, because they showed it looked like Kelsey was lined up on the left side of the field.
But even still, you said if Kelsey, if he's on the right side again, and this is the one going to Pacheco. Oh no, yeah, Pacheco. There he goes. He was on the right side of the field. So again, you was talking about
left to the right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he was on the right side. He started off on the right side of the field, but you were saying
on
that
the left, went to the right.
He was on the right and he went to the left, bro. What are you talking about?
If you look at what are you talking about? They're going down the field. If you're turned this way, that's the right side of the field.
Chelsea just ran to the right. If you're facing the field this way, like I am, Chelsea is facing the right. He's on the right side going left.
I said he went from the left to the right. If you're facing the field, if I turn this way and go the same way,
he went from the left to the right side of the field.
Yeah,
right.
that's what I'm saying. I said that.
But he started over. I'm talking.
He was on the left side of the field and went to the right.
Right, but I'm saying my bad. When I say that, I'm talking about where he took off when the ball was snapped.
Yeah, he was on the right side of the field when he took off. But what I said is I seen him on the left side of the field, and then he motioned to the right side of the field.
Gotcha. My bad. I'm talking about when I say it, I'm saying where he started off when the ball snapped. That's what I'm talking about. Where he's at when the ball snapped. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying the whole time you saying when Greenlaw was in, his assignment was basically to guard.
Greenlaw plays the left side of the field. So they say
decided which he just right. So deciding which Kelsey just motioned to.
Yes.
Right. So with that being said, you were saying, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you were saying Greenlaw was checking Kelsey when he was in the game.
No, I'm not saying he was checking Kelsey. I'm saying that he was there, and that's a difference. He's in that. He's a difference maker.
I'm saying, but
I don't know. I don't know if he was checking them or things like that. But
but when we talked about it earlier, you were saying Greenlaw, because Greenlaw was on the field, Kelsey didn't have any catches in the first half. Besides that one,
I didn't say that, but yeah, that's true because Kelsey didn't get. He ended the first half with one
yards.
Yeah,
or 5, something like that. 5 yards or something like that.
1 yard,
yeah, something like that. But either way, so with that being said, as we saying, so if Pacheco's in, if Greenlaw's like the whole, like they're not throwing nothing deep, nothing. These are all dump off passes. This whole overtime drive has nothing went over probably 10 yards. In which he's
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what my point was. The 49ers defense wasn't able to stop them at all. Like it was like y'all couldn't stop them, and they wasn't even throwing deep or running decoys or nothing. They just lined up.
Yeah, like why would you throw it deep? Like you.
But I'm just saying, check down passes.
You take what's given. Like, I'm trying to get like, what's the point of what y'all are trying to make? Because y'all is like, is it?
The point is, here's the point. You know, they got 4 downs. You know, they got to use all 4 downs. You know, you done came down and you kick the field goal. So no matter what, if they not in field goal range, they got 4 downs. So you got 4 downs to stop them. So you had 4 downs at any given time. You had 4 downs to stop them, and you just
came down like y'all just said. What it comes down to, in my opinion, for me, is that they just didn't stop them. But again, because they didn't stop them does not mean they're not a defensive or a championship caliber defense. They just didn't stop them. That can happen to anybody.
You can't add them.
You can't sit up.
You can't put a label of them being a championship defense if they didn't win a championship.
Why not?
Hey, that's what I'm saying. That's all I've been saying is that
they won a Western.
The narrative is their championship defense when they haven't won a championship.
They won a division championship. They won the conference championship. They're champions in state. That's like it's like those
championships matter.
Okay.
They matter.
Okay, touche.
Or does the Super Bowl?
It's just like we sit up and call y'all. We sit up and call.
They win the Super Bowl.
They call Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo Super Bowl quarterbacks because they went to the Super Bowl. Like you know, saying so that
happened. That happened. They went.
So they call Jimmy Garoppolo a championship quarterback, and he didn't win the championship as a Super Bowl. He was on the team that won the Super Bowl. So I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact. It's just
didn't he take that team and then he ended up getting hurt though?
What when
they went to the Super Bowl that year?
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
Took the who? He took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. He ain't take the Patriots.
What did you just say then?
I said when he was in Pittsburgh, when he was in New England.
They said what? I never heard them call him a Super Bowl quarterback.
I never heard them call Garoppolo.
I've never heard
that.
I heard
a Super Bowl champion. A Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl champion.
Whether you play or not, you are a champion.
Exactly. So that's the same thing. Whether you don't have to win a championship. They're in a championship game. They're in a championship game in the defense.
You don't have to win a championship to have championship defense.
You don't have to win a championship to have a championship defense.
So you can just fall short all the time and have a championship defense.
Their defense is what got you to the championship.
But it didn't get you the win. It didn't get you the win.
But of course, because someone has to fall on the sword. If both teams can't win. So it just happened because if the 49ers had won, then we'll be talking differently about Kansas City. It doesn't take away if San Francisco had beat Kansas City, it doesn't take away from the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs had a championship defense. It's just
this is what I look at. Before we get out of here, man, this is what I look at. Like, I understand your logic. I understand the different things, but you have to understand what the point that we're trying to get across to you is you can't be a championship defense if you don't win a championship. That don't make sense. And it's not your narrative. It's the narrative of the experts. It's the narrative of everybody. If you listen to experts, the Cleveland Browns had a championship defense. Everybody got a championship defense is my point until it's time to be champions. Guess who got a championship defense? The Kansas City Chiefs. You want to know why? They back-to-back champions. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much with the same defense. They got a championship defense. They was able to stop y'all. They was able to stop Philly when they needed to stop. And they was able to win games with that defense. Whether it's Chris Jones making a play here or there, whether it's somebody else, Kalafkas getting a sack or something, they was able to make plays. They made those plays against Lamar Jackson. They made them against Tua. They made them against Josh Allen when they needed to make them. And they made them against Brock Purdy when they needed to make them. It's like, my point is, when are the 49ers? My whole point to you is when are the 49ers? When they going to say we got enough players and the players go out and make the championship plays in the championship game like they supposed to be if they're championship defense is my point. When is Fred Warner going to make the play? When is he going to deflect a pass? Knock a pass down from Kelsey. Knock the pass down from Rice. Knock a ball down. I mean, I'm just saying, when you going to make the plays is my point. Like, when is it going to be? It ain't the defensive coordinator who I think called a heck of a game to keep it as close as they kept it. Like, so sometimes the players got to make a play. When is Bosa? Bosa made he played outstanding in the first half. In the second half is when they needed him to play. It's a 60-minute game. Where were you in the 60-minute game? We was able to use your own aggressiveness against you. That ain't got nothing to do with the X's and O's being called. That's saying that, hey, Mahomes is like, hey, I'm on the field with this guy. I know he aggressive. I know he gonna get out of his lane in the second half. Like, how do you know he gonna get out of his lane? Mahomes ran right at him on fourth down and 1. Mahomes ran right. Bosa took himself out of the play. All Bosa had to do was stand there and let Mahomes come to hit him. Bosa ran up the field, took himself out of the play.
Was it a play?
And Mahomes went right around him on that bootleg on that quarterback keeper.
Was that a play action?
It was a quarterback keeper for fourth down. He kept the ball.
Did it start out with a play action?
Yeah, Bosa came up the field though.
Yeah, he was
Like,
so Bosa did exactly what he's supposed to do. He went after the ball,
no, he
but he
didn't.
was aggressive. I mean, he was
This
aggressive
is
with
just shows that play like this
is
is
it?
shows that play like 3 times. And what do you see happening? Bosa,
But
they took
if I'm
advantage
saying
of Bosa.
if it was a play
It was
action
like an
motion,
RPO or something, right?
yeah.
Like,
The motion was that he faked the handoff. Bosa came up the field to sit up and try to get on the backside of the running back, and Patrick Mahomes kept the ball and went around where Bosa removed from. That's a bang bang play. That Bosa did what he's supposed to do. Because if he doesn't do that,
no.
then he's getting caught watching, trying to sit up and stay home and going after. So he didn't stay home. That's what hurt
All
him.
day long you've been containing on that end, and then you get
Yeah,
beat. But
but it's
my
fourth
point
and
is,
one. It's fourth and one. They
my
just
point
don't
is,
understand. That's
if that was,
coaching. He did exactly what they do. They
but
recognize
flip
this
it
is
on the other side, because we saw it happen when they needed plays. When the Kansas City Chiefs needed plays, they made the plays defensively, offensively, and defensively. They made the plays. I'm not worried about y'all offense, but y'all defense. Like year after year, we hear how great this defense is, and they
they
just
are good
haven't won.
defense.
And they haven't won a Super Bowl. Nah, like how great are you? We've been hearing comparisons. Like they try to compare this defense to like they try to compare it to the Baltimore Ravens of 2000. This that whatever. No, those they won a Super Bowl. They won. You know what I'm saying? Like they won. Like you can't be in that conversation if you don't win. You can't be in that conversation. You can't be a championship defense. Every championship defense I've seen have won. You know what I'm saying? They've won the championship.
And so, are you saying that the defense that lost wasn't good defenses or wasn't great defenses?
I'm not saying they were not. I'm not saying they're not good defenses. I'm saying they're not great defenses. I'm saying they're not championship defenses. Is what I'm saying. Like they good defenses, but they're not championship defenses. Heck, you want to be honest? They've been good enough to get to the NFC Championship game 4 times. They've been good enough to make it to 2 Super Bowls, but they haven't been good enough to close the deal. Guess who else defenses was good enough to do that? We talked about the Buffalo Bills. They went 4 times. Their defense was good enough to get to the Super Bowl 4 times, and they got shellacked every time. You don't talk about only person you talk about on that defense is who? Bruce Smith probably get the most light here and there because he's the all-time sack leader
Mm-hmm.
or whatever in the NFL. But what I'm saying is that that defense went 4 times. Back in the days, who was the Minnesota Vikings went 4 times with that defense. Deacon Jones and those dudes, they was called the Purple People Eaters or something,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't win. They
So,
didn't win. But with the Steel Curtain, they won 4 of them, did they not?
yeah,
Mean Joe Green and those guys won 4 of them, right? Legendary defense. That's what I'm saying.
but they
The,
also lost a couple too.
right, but the Tampa Bay Bucks, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they had Sapp and Derek Brooks and John Lynch and all those, Rondé Barber, Simeon Rice, the list goes on, right? They wasn't a championship defense until they did what? Won the championship. They was a good defense, one of the best defenses I ever seen with my own eyes. Held the greatest show on turf to 11 points in the NFC Championship game. Held them to 11 points, the greatest show on turf. Marshall Falk and Torrey Holt, Kurt Warner, all them dudes, Isaac Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Held them to 11 points. They still was not a championship defense. You know what I'm saying? They still was not a championship defense in what was it? 03 or was it 02? The 02-03 season, whatever it was when they won it. Or 03-04, whatever year it was when they finally won it, that was a championship defense. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a championship defense. Like they won it.
Y'all are wilding. So of course we greatly appreciate y'all those that tapped in. Randy, of course, just let me know. Let me know, or I hit you up and find out and see what's up. But great in any case, greatly appreciate the conversation, all that. Whether it's agree to disagree or whatever case like that. Facts, say factual, like I said, logic, all that type of stuff. Still, of course, appreciate in-state. What happened, saying it is what it is, and it tends to happen. Of course, it's still bang bang on mine. I still think they are one of the best defenses of this time. They just didn't close it out, but I don't think
Stack
that
the
takes away.
team, stack the deck, stack the deck. Give them everybody next
That's
year.
what stack the deck.
Give
That's
them everybody this off season.
Stack the deck. We don't have to worry about that. But we appreciate y'all tapping in. Of course, we'll be back with more at another time, and y'all just be on the watch out for us. Appreciate y'all. It's
me, Trey, Cornelius, Bishop. We'll holler at y'all. Peace.